can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Hey Lord, I saw you tear mountains from the sky and turn mighty rivers dry. You showed me how the barren brings forth life and how this immortal dragon dies in my life. 'Cause truth means nothing until someone believes enough to make it plain. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I was waiting on the magic to react till you showed me it was right there for me to gain. 'Cause it's difficult to see when you're half awake and you've been walking in your sleep. But then I heard your voice whispering to me, hey, and it's bringing me back to life. Back to life. It's bringing me back to life. Bringing me back to life. All this time I wasted thinking I was almost dead, but now I'm breathing. If my heart is racing, I feel the blood rushing underneath my skin. My whole perspective's changing, though I can never go back to the condition I was in. No, no, no. Lost in shadows, cut off by towers left in the dark. Hey, hey. Yeah, I was wounded by arrows, shot down to try to keep us where we are. Yeah, 'cause you can get used to living on the edge of death when you've been there for a while. But when I found your love, I wasn't scared to die. Now you're bringing me back to life. Back to life. You're bringing me back, bringing me back to life. All this time I wasted, thinking I was almost dead, but now I'm breathing. Hey. Yeah. All this time I wasted. All this time I wasted. But you said I'll replace it. I'll replace it. I'll replace every bit of it. You breathe on me. Yeah, you breathe on me. Yeah, and I never knew a sound could be so clear. I never knew my wounds would fully heal. Never knew how much I could really feel. I never knew that words could mean so much. I never knew the power of your touch. I never knew, no, never knew, no, no, never knew. Oh, yeah, yeah.
What's up, everybody? We are live and we're here Tuesday night. We're in the Lion's Den and we're going to get it popping with another conversation. Shout out to those who are in the chat right now. Make sure you hit that like button and share this video. You are watching Young Lion TV. Let's go.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding. Young lion.
Yes, sir. You're watching Young Lion TV. And it's Tuesday night, so that means we got to have some conversations. And I'm here. I'm Jamie. I'm gonna kind of guide the ship today. I got my Eagles hoodie on because Super Bowl bound.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
I gotta rock. Look, it finally came back. It finally came back around to where it's valid again. This is my NFC Championship hoodie that I rock all the time. But now they're NFC Championship champions again. So shout out to the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. I know Stan's a little salty about that, but we gonna leave that right there. And next to me, of course, I got my brother. He is single and ready to mingle. The coolest Asian in the world, Mr. Simone Chang. And he's got his the new Young Lion merch design on right there. That's the new tee right there. Yeah. You can get that on our merch store, which is right in the description. If you guys want to cop some of the merch that we have available, you can see the hat right there. And then we got some mugs right there. Grab that hoodie. We got another little hoodie too, and then you can see the back. The back has like a QR code on it, so if someone walking behind you wants to be nosy, they can. It'll take them right to our link tree, and they can find out more about the pride of the Young Lions. But also sitting on the other chair, I got my brother. The human Swiss Army knife, the Black MacGyver. He's got more guns than you. You probably got one on him right now, Mr. Stan Golden. Mr. Stan Golden sitting there, got his conceal and carry just to keep to make it legal.
As soon as they was like, "You're allowed to do it in Jersey."
And not last. And then next to him is, of course, my big brother, everyone's big brother. He is the preacher, the teacher, the people reacher, Mr. Jacob.
I like that.
Eugene Evans, the third.
People reacher.
And of course, last but not least, we got the illest mother in the game. My mom sitting on production. Yeah.
Single and ready to
mingle. Miss Angelique Evans, Tiffy Bro Lopez.
Oh my God. Always got something to say.
That wasn't nice.
It's the truth. It's just reality.
It's Lopez now.
It's not reality.
It's Lopez.
No. Isn't? Don't you have to legally go through every last name?
It doesn't matter.
No,
it's Lopez.
Okay. Not if you change it.
It's
so we
funny.
drop it on it.
That's what Nina's family does.
Yes,
like with the kids.
But
their middle name ends up being
that's what Spanish people do too. So it actually makes sense.
No, that's their name that they have from birth. It's long like that.
I'm sorry. Okay, you're right.
Did I tell y'all how mom tricked me into? No, I wouldn't say trick. She got me to join this Christian singles
Facebook group,
South
Facebook
Jersey.
Group. Yeah.
Oh, for South Jersey.
She's like, they have events and I don't want to go. I'm nervous.
My mom is determined.
Do you want to join with me?
No.
So she want to use her single son, her fourth son.
Simone, tell the truth. It's all women. We're just going to go bowling to have fun. I invited you so you can meet somebody.
I was gonna say, how close is it?
Maple Shade.
She wants you to meet a nice Christian girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I appreciate
the bowling isn't, but they're going to be away.
Oh, that
Maple Shade. There's a bowling alley over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is the bowling
Isn't
alley?
it
Forget the
38?
name
Oh,
of
there
it.
is.
Bowl
There's one
38
on
or something?
73. That's Maple Shade,
Oh yeah,
right by Morris Salmon.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I had a party there.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
you did.
Well, let me get back to this. Thank you guys for
You know we
tuning
like to
in.
go
Thank
on
you guys for
tangents.
watching. I got to give a quick shout out to a couple of the Young Lions and Patreon members who are in the chat right now. Courtney, our sister Courtney, who is a king
Courtney.
level Patreon member. She said, "Happy
What
Tuesday,
up,
Love
family."
you, Courtney.
And of course, our brother Emma, our African Cameroonian brother, who is a young lion. Also, he said, "Greetings, guys." Shout out to Emma,
Yo, Emma is slick on the field.
bro.
He is.
We
slick.
all talk about Emma's ability.
He's
on-
slippery, right?
He's got like this little, like this little slippery.
Slippery.
He can get out of the
You think you
tightest
got him, and then you don't.
spots, yo. Yeah.
One time I swore I had him, and then he just got it by me.
There was one time on Saturday when I watched 3 people get cut up by him.
Yeah.
All like they all surrounded him,
But
and
they-
he found his way through
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, a lot of them dudes, they just go after you.
I
Like,
know. Nah, but Emma got some of the best ball control out there, man. Shout out to him.
nice.
But also, guys, please share this video. Hit the like button. We've been getting a little bit of traction with the shorts and reels that we've been posting, but then we also see the throttling too. So we need y'all to share. That's the best thing that helps us, because that's what happens with when these clips go. It's because people are sharing them. So when
Yeah.
people share them, they catch a wave, and then the algorithm finds out and then
Checks the words.
clamps it down.
Clamps down.
But we need your guys' help to share this. And also, if you want to support what we're doing, if you want to become a part of the Young Lions and become a part of the Pride, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/youngliontv. You can see that at the bottom of the screen, and you can go over there and shoot to that spot over there and sign up to become a member. There's different tiers based on how far you want to dip your toe into the Pride, and also you'll get different incentives that we've been working on to those that sign up. You can ask some of the young lions like Courtney. Courtney's basically family now. She's a king level lion member, and she's like family. And other people like Paul. Like we did a song with Paul just because he was a young lion. You know what I mean? Things like that. So there are different things.
Turned out good too.
Yeah, it did turn out. He was really happy with it. And other things that we plan on doing in the future with shows and community stuff, that we're going to be building this Young Lion community up. So if you want to become a part of that, go to the Patreon, sign up over there, become a member, and we can grow this thing and show people how we can change culture. That's what we're really trying to get into. Also, if you want merch, like I said, the link is in the description. There's one of the tees right there. We got a whole bunch of other designs and stuff that we're working on. We're going to be constantly putting up different merch designs with different slogans and things that represent the Pride. So check that out too. And we got new music coming really soon. We've been working on it. We just were working on a mix last night for the first song that we're dropping this year, which is, if you've watched this podcast, you've seen the live version of it so many times. It's a song we got called Release that we're going to be putting out. So stay tuned for that. And other than that, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first thing I want to talk about is that clip that we posted up that was from the very first podcast we ever did, where we didn't even have the tech right. The lighting was all horrible. We didn't know what we were doing, and we didn't really know what to talk about. We just kind of went live. And I remember we had Abel there. We had a couple other people there that kind of were just in the building meeting with Dave, and they came down to just like have a conversation with us. We were already set up, and then we started telling them about Baby Burlesque, and so Moan sends me the clip of that, and he's like, "Yo, should we post this as a short?"
Because I'm hesitant. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to get our stuff banned. Or
He's
whatever.
worried about getting a strike, getting banned, things like that. And I'm like, man, I thought about it. I'm like, we're not really saying nothing crazy in there. We're just talking about, and like I said, that the Baby Burlesque stuff is still on YouTube. So we post that up, and it does all right on YouTube Shorts. It does all right on TikTok. Instagram Reels really didn't do nothing, and then I remember because I posted it just on a Saturday like morning, just like, let me just post it up. I didn't think nothing of it, and then I think it was Sunday when you called me, right?
Yeah.
and you were like, "Yo, that video got 20,000 views," and I was like, "What?" Because I had just checked it and it was like 2,000 views. I'm like, okay, that's not bad. I'm thinking, yeah, on
YouTube?
Facebook,
Oh,
on Facebook.
okay.
So Facebook is where it kind of jumped up.
Yeah.
And so then after he told me, he went and checked again. He was like, yo, it's at like 30 now. And then I'm just watching it shoot up. Then it's at 60. Then it's at 70. And I'm looking at all the comments and it gets up to like, it's almost at like 90,000 views now. And mad people sharing it. But the thing that stuck out to me the most was I started reading the comments and like the amount of people that are trying to equate what we talked about in that video to like a conservative agenda against drag queens, which there was nothing about that in the video
at all.
Yeah.
It was crazy to me. Like one of the first comments that I saw on there was like a dude that posted a picture of the toddlers and tiaras or whatever. You remember that show?
Yeah.
On
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not on Netflix. It was on some cable network. But it's about like, you know how in the other countries they do those pageants with the toddlers where they dress them up all sexualized and stuff, which I think is horrible as well. Like I've never agreed with that stuff.
Yeah, put makeup on them like
The
full,
pageants and stuff.
full makeup.
Yeah, and not only that, you're like torturing these kids to make them like do all these performances and walk and answer all these questions, and you see the kids like melting down all the time, like and crying, like they clearly don't want to do this. You want to do it, you know. But and I saw this meme on Twitter before where people would post that and be like, you know, conservatives are mad about Drag Time Story Hour, but they're totally okay with this, and it's like, that's a false equivalency because most people are not okay with this,
Right.
It's just because you think that it happens in the South.
The South, yeah.
That most conservatives are okay with this. You know what I mean? And so someone posted that in the comments, that same meme. And my response was just kind of like, we don't agree with either one of those, but it's weird that you're trying to defend sexualizing kids either way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Why is it okay either way?
yeah, like, so you're saying because conservatives are okay with this, we should be okay with sexualizing kids in this way. Like,
and how does that lead to drag at all?
Yeah. And that's what that's also what I said. Like, drag wasn't even brought up in this clip at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just really a post to show what was going on. Now,
and to show like how this has been around forever.
Right. But what I'm saying is that people are always trying to insinuate or try to speak about what you mean when you post something or when you say something.
Yeah.
They're trying to imply your intent for the post.
Right. It's an implication.
Yeah.
And that's where we always have the problems.
Yep.
And people are so quick to do that in today because, and I think it goes back to like a lack of respect. Like just a lack of mutual respect for people. Like, well, what do you mean? Like,
yeah, trying to understand each other, right?
Right.
yeah,
You know, like
Have a conversation.
like you can see something and just be like, that's nasty.
Yeah.
You know, like that video,
Literally, the title said, "This is disturbing,"
Yeah.
and that's all it said.
Yeah.
But to me, though, like, there's video proof. Like, it's proof in the pudding. There's videos of the baby burlesque. There's dance numbers where they're doing things that are with a child. Shirley Temple looked like she was like 5, and the dude was putting her head, pointing down.
That's crazy. Like, I put that purposely in there because it's like the dance number that most people know her from. Where there's a part in there that so it's subliminal.
Yes.
You know, where he pulls her towards his crotch, she stops him and then wags her finger.
Yeah.
And then he points down.
Points down.
Yeah.
Like,
And you know what's weird? Like you said, I was watching her since I was little, and I watched everything, and I never even thought. anything bad because my mind wasn't thinking that way. But now that I look back at it, oh my gosh, you're
Yeah,
right.
it's-
just
But that's the
terrible.
thing. So some other people would comment that, like saying, "Well, you're only seeing that because you have a perverted mind."
Yeah,
and
right.
it's like,
they were
no.
saying that. I read that.
The point is, these are the subliminal things that they add into content to desensitize you to certain ideas.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the subtle brainwashing that goes on. Because what is the need to even have that in there?
Right.
Exactly.
People who are abused don't know that they're being abused. Like
Yeah.
children who are being abused, they don't know they're being abused. They
It's
don't know
grooming.
they don't know it's wrong. A
Right.
lot of times, they think it's normal. Like
Yeah.
how many people do you see? They're like, oh, I thought this was normal.
Yep.
Until they grow up and realize it's not normal. Abuse of all kinds. People think it's normal. Cults that people grow up in, they think it's normal. So
I was watching a video of her that she said when she was 12 years old, her mother took her and put her into a producer's office, and he was totally naked.
Yeah.
And she said she never saw that before in her life. So she started laughing, and he got so mad he threw her out. But
Yeah, that was on Larry King, right?
yeah, she
Yeah.
went through all that.
She did a bunch of interviews talking about the abuse that went on those sets.
Yeah.
Where
I
they
was-
would
I
put
was gonna
kids
cut-
in ice buckets. Go ahead.
I was going to comment on like one of them. It was like, yeah, that sounds like a groomer's response. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because it does. Like,
That's-
how can you defend that at all?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I kept saying to people. Like, you sound crazy.
You sound like a
trying
groomer.
to argue for sexualizing kids.
Yeah.
You sound crazy. Like, that's just like
Yeah.
you're arguing for the allowance of sexualizing children.
Blur the line.
Like,
I saw a comment that said they were just acting out what they see grown-ups do.
yeah.
And no, that was a skit that a grown-up put together.
Yes.
Right.
They're not just
They're not
acting
just
out
acting
what-
it
Yeah,
out.
natural
It's not playing house
And-
like we used to do when we were kids. That's
And
right.
let's not think that it was normal in that society at that time for grown-ups all to
Yeah.
be doing what they were doing in those videos.
Right. The little clip in there where the little black boy is tap dancing and then like
takes his
stripping.
clothes off.
He's
Yeah.
stripping. And then there's other little clips from different shorts, baby burlesque shorts that we didn't even show. Where like the one where they did a whole African scene where they go and like they're like basically cannibalizing one of the kids. And they put him in a pot to boil him, and it says cradle bait. Remember that? Remember that one?
I don't remember it, but
Like it's crazy. Like the
a lot
stuff
of-
they were doing. There's a lot of innuendo, a lot of like suggestive language, and
Yeah, like the cucumber one where
Yeah.
the kid was, eating a
Yeah.
cucumber and it squirts
Her in
in
the
her
face.
face.
Yeah.
Like what is that? What is that to you?
That's-
what does that
know.
represent?
Like
Yeah.
how can you defend that?
Right.
And why-
Especially,
Go ahead. No,
when
go
you
ahead.
know, I was going to say, especially when you know that, all the things that came out about Disney,
Yeah.
and then you look back to that, like where did that start?
And
Or
when you
where'd they
listen
get
to
the
her
imagery
talk
from?
about it, I think the production house that she was working with during that time was MGM.
Mm-hmm.
So that's connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, imagine passing a little child around by all men and touching her and
Yeah.
and where are the women there? Like, why is it all men?
Yes.
It's just weird.
It's strange.
isn't that good ship lollipop?
Yes. Yes. And then they're like putting like white powder on her face. Like it's just
weird, man.
It's just it's super disturbing, man, when you go back and you think about it. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that and address that because it's on our Facebook page. And if you go through and see a lot of those comments, it's crazy to see how people will really go to bat for something that disturbing.
Like you can't just say what it is.
Yeah.
You can't admit what it is, what it actually is.
I think it's also because people get so familiar with things that they don't want you to criticize it. Like they don't want it's become almost like an idolatry to them or
Well, I'll tell you what. A lot of those people that were making those arguments, I went on their pages and it was a lot of rainbow flags. You know what I'm saying? And that to me, that's a weird equivalency too. Like for you to be LGBTQ and to think that somehow that's an implication towards you.
Right.
Anytime someone brings up grooming children, you get
You
offended
always get
and you got to
offended,
defend
yeah.
it. Like that's a weird
Yeah.
psychological move to me.
That's the first thing they jump to.
Yeah, and it's like, yo,
it
we
has
didn't
nothing
even.
to do
This
with
had
that tells
nothing to
you
do.
that tells you it's all sexual.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
know?
their insecurity
Yes.
coming out.
Right. Right. And it's like, you don't even realize you're equating this to you.
Right.
This had nothing to do with that. This is about exposing Hollywood and the things that they do, the propaganda that they've been putting out since the 1930s.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, those people talking like that, they just told on themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I saw you on them comments.
Yeah, I did put something.
Mom, you was in there getting them. I saw you. Go ahead, Mom. Go ahead. That's what we need. Hey, but listen, let them comment. That's just more engagement for us.
Right.
Let them be mad.
Going.
But yeah, so moving on. I wanted to bring up this something because it's a huge story if you're in the YouTube world. We're on YouTube right now streaming. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Mr. Beast's latest video, did you guys see this? Where he did a video where he made 1,000 blind people see for the first time. He like picked 1,000 blind people and he gave them all like free medical procedures where they could see for the first time.
What? Nah.
Yeah. So he's
What's
getting
his name? Mr. Beast?
Mr. Beast.
Oh, okay.
You never heard of Mr. Beast?
No, I don't think so.
Dude, the biggest YouTuber
he's huge.
on the freaking planet.
Somebody
bro.
just tried to give him like a few $1 billion,
Yeah.
and he said he turned it down
Because
because he makes so much money.
he
Right.
spends
On
like
YouTube.
he'll spend like $50 million to do a YouTube video
Dang.
because it'll get 250 million views. You
Right.
know what I mean? Sometimes 1 billion. He's the one that did the whole Squid Games remake. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know it.
That's him. So he did a video. His last video was, and he's that's the thing is like a lot of he blew up because he comes from like a Christian background, and a lot of his stuff was like trying to do videos to help people, give people money. Like he'll do stuff like
He's
Take-
not Christian though. Okay.
no, I think he was,
Oh, okay.
but
But he holds to.
yeah, he holds to a lot of those values. I remember him talking about that on Joe Rogan. But he did a video where he would do stuff like he'll take people to a store, like someone who you know is a poor person or something. He'll take them to a store and be like, whatever you can pile up and fit in this cart, I'll buy for you. You know what I mean? He'll do stuff like that. So, you know, they will go around the store and try to be creative and pile it up. And he'll help them, like, pile it up to the sky, you know what I mean? And then pay for everything. But he's getting a lot of backlash because of this video from a lot of people, like, calling him the Antichrist and all this weird stuff. Crystal and Sagar did a video on it. I'm going to play it.
Well, guys, the latest Mr. Beast video dropped, and it's kind of beautiful, and it's also honestly kind of brutal. In the video, you watch as Mr. Beast, whose real name is Jimmy, pays for 1,000 people to undergo a simple surgery to cure them of blindness. As you watch, you see a father able to clearly view his son's face for the first time in years. You see a young man who's able to drive for the first time in his life. You see providers able to go back to work. You see a mother in tears at having her life instantly transformed by a generous stranger. And because it's Mr. Beast, he also randomly threw in a few $10,000 giveaways, even a $50,000 giveaway on top of all of it. So you get to watch the unadulterated joy of people having crushing financial stress lifted off their shoulders in an instant. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Mr. Beast, he's got 130 million subscribers on YouTube. He is the #1 YouTuber in the entire world. And this type of random act of charity is kind of par for the course for his content. He's famous in part for these random cash giveaways. So anyway, that's Mr. Beast. But this latest video has actually led to some backlash. You're probably thinking, what the hell? The man cured blindness for 1,000 people who without him would still be suffering from visual impairment. How in God's name can that possibly be controversial? Well, here was some of the online discourse, courtesy of Distractify, to give you a little bit of flavor of what people were saying. Quote, if Mr. Beast truly wanted to do something good and truly cares about disabled people, he would not monetize their suffering and make them tap dance on video just so he can slap it up on YouTube. I'm tired of having to perform gratitude for wealthy people just to stay alive. Others went even further. This person tweeted, There is something so demonic about this, and I can't even articulate what it is, and they've got screenshots from the video. Sticking with the satanic theme here, this individual really went all in, tweeting, "He is literally the Antichrist. He's performing our society's equivalent of miracles through these excessive acts of faux generosity and is garnering everyone's undivided love and admiration in doing so. He will start subverting Christ's teachings next and preaching selfish action." Mr. Beast apparently literally causing the end times or something.
Okay, so thoughts. I want to see what you guys think about those opinions, and if you're familiar with are you familiar with his videos?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I've seen his videos.
Okay, what do you think about that reaction to
That comment, you need to articulate why it's bad. Like he
Yeah.
said, I can't even.
Yeah.
No, you should.
Yeah, it's demonic.
Explain why
why,
it's demonic.
why do you feel that way?
Yeah, you need.
Because
to
I've
go
seen
on.
his videos. Like it's it's cool sometimes that he helps people out and
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, he shows the world though, but it's like it's showing the entire world. YouTube, you can touch
Right.
a lot of people. So I haven't seen the blind thing.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
I watched it. It's
Is-
it's interesting. Like he definitely just. It's a procedure where they go in and they fix people's lenses and make them be able to see.
What's bad about that?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be if he has a nefarious, little nefarious reasons behind it, but I don't know his intention. So
Yeah.
that's my thing. Like, I don't know your intention. I can't assume his intention.
Right.
But again, that's what you're the same thing we were just talking about. People are making comments on something, implying someone's intent on why they're doing it.
Right. That's where we always have problems. Is people go too far. Like, you don't
Yeah.
know. Could he might be totally genuine in what he's doing. Is it might be being genuine but also making money off of it. Like,
Yeah.
why are we even judging that? Like,
I think
okay.
honestly, from watching, because I've seen all his interviews and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I think honestly, because he literally all the money he makes off YouTube, he literally gives away. And puts it back into new content and gives it to people. Like he'll do a video, he'll do a video where it's like he bought a private island for like $800,000, and then brought like I think it was like 100 people there, and was like whoever can stay up the longest for a certain amount of days wins the private island. You know what I mean? Like he does stuff like that.
Wow.
Or he'll give away $1 million. You know what I mean? Like he does stuff like that all the time. So he's constantly like he's making a lot of money off these videos, but he's giving it all away. And I think his intentions from what he said is honestly just to be the best YouTuber of all times. That's really what his goal is. So yeah, that does play into a lot of what he's doing is out of kindness, but it's also motivated by him coming up with great content
Right.
that he knows. He's become a master of the YouTube algorithm. So when people look at like what trends to do, they're all copying him now because he's mastered it, you know?
I think it's interesting that I just told you about this yesterday. That the word give is like one of the most used words, I think, especially in the New Testament.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact number, but it's like way more than love, obedience, pray,
Yeah.
a few others. So there's something to that giving,
I mean, unless he's making them sign like crazy contracts that I don't know.
Right, or harming people,
Yeah.
or like putting them through. Like I could see, because there is that fine line where it becomes Squid Games, right?
Right.
And it's funny because he did the Squid Games parody, and he kind of like has a version of that where it's like I make people do these challenges to win a bunch of money that will change their lives for other people's entertainment. That's literally what Squid Games was.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but the games.
Except you die. Right?
You die, yeah. You die and you're tortured the whole time, and so there is that line, It's like how far can you go, before it's like, just torturous.
Right.
Yeah, but he's not doing that though. He's not.
No, no. But
Like-
there is something to be said about the fact that we're all getting entertainment from watching other people compete for money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But he also does stuff where he just gives.
Yes,
You know, that's-
absolutely.
So let me read this comment from Jason Gandy. He said, "Mr. Beast is planting seeds of kindness. It's amazing how this world can pervert that."
Yeah. Shout out to Jason Gandy. That's my neighbor right up the street. You met him before.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I met him.
Yeah. Yeah. We right in the basement, Jason. You should come over and jump on the podcast.
Another mic.
Come talk.
Yeah. He wants to get up. He wants to come to the studio actually. He's been practicing guitar and he wants to get up and like play some praise and worship stuff with us. So
Oh, okay.
shout out to him.
That's what's up.
But yeah, I agree, man. I agree. He definitely is, and he even like some of the other stuff he's doing, like with the Beast Burgers and his Beast Chocolate, like a lot of that stuff he's doing to help people. Like he feeds a bunch of homeless people. He takes a bunch of that money and just gives away food, gives away like he's constantly giving away stuff to people. So
Yeah. So it's like, these people that they're looking at, oh, he's just trying to get fame. Like, what are they doing?
You're putting
Yeah.
that
Are they touching people's lives like he is? You're just judging. You know.
yeah.
The only thing about that,
Go ahead, Mom. I had to turn your mic off because you was over there smacking spiders and whispering during the video.
the only thing about that is because I don't know if he's a Christian or not, but I don't like to see people on Facebook or anywhere doing stuff and then videotaping it, and doing stuff for people, paying for people's stuff, and then they're videotaping because the word says,
Right.
don't let the right hand know what your left hand or whichever way it says. But I think that a lot of people do it just so that they can get attention. He's doing it because that's just what he does all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's part of his
But-
content. Yeah.
but
It also
I just
says
don't.
the given secret.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
But I don't think you can't hold him to that standard.
No, that's what I just said. He's not like those other people that they feed the poor and then you see them videotaping it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the other thing I think a lot of people don't understand, that there's a lot of other ways that he gives that people don't even know about. Like he doesn't. Not everything is content for his
Right.
YouTube. There's lots of stuff that he does that he just does that he is not posted up anywhere. You know
And the
what I
stuff
mean?
that is posted up is, creating revenue
right,
to
right,
be able to give, to
Right.
be
Funding
able
his
to
whole-
heal people from blindness.
yeah.
Right.
He has a whole production studio now that I think is like one of the biggest in the world in North Carolina that he built. He has a whole staff now. You know what I mean? Like tons of people, editors, people that work for him. So, he's doing a whole
Yeah,
thing.
you never know where he could end up.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what's-
Has anybody interviewed him? Like, as far as
He's been on Rogan.
trying
been-
to
he-
gauge his motivation?
Yeah, absolutely. He did a long interview with Rogan, which was, I would suggest anybody who never heard of him, go watch that. He did one on Flagrant too that was actually pretty good with Andrew Schultz and them. He did one. He's done plenty of interviews. You can just find him on YouTube. Search up Mr. Beast. Jason said, but the word also says to be a light. It is true.
Yeah.
Does he come off as fake? I mean, you can fake it, but does he come off like that in those interviews?
Not to me.
I don't
Not to me.
I don't get that from him. He seems genuine.
Yeah. I think he was a kid who fell in love with YouTube. He's been doing YouTube since he was like 12 or 13 or something like that. He fell in love with YouTube and he became obsessed with mastering the algorithm. And he did that.
There was a video he did before he became he got when he was gonna start YouTube. He did this video. Did you see that?
Which one?
It was just a video of him as like a teenager speaking to himself. Like
He has a whole bunch that he did throughout the years that he's been starting to release now, as
okay.
like little
Well, I
time
saw one
capsule
of 'em.
ones. Yeah.
and I thought that was cool because he's speaking to himself like
In the future.
in the future.
Yeah.
There's something to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so moving on with the Mr. Beast. So Moan's looking at my lap. He's cheating over here.
I'm always cheating.
We got to talk about the latest brother getting duped on a date from James O'Keefe episode. I don't know if you've seen this.
Oh, yeah.
Is this the Pfizer guy?
This is the Pfizer guy, the guy that works for Pfizer. This one probably takes the cake,
Yeah. I
for
would say
the
so.
worst ever. Like just giving it all
You
up.
know what it reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of that show Cheaters.
Yes. It's a lot like that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So this guy, Jordan Tristan Walker, is a Pfizer director of research and development, and he is on this date with someone who he thinks he's about to smash, and
Ew.
You just made it up.
hey,
You just
I'm
made
just
it.
speaking facts here.
Ew.
I'm just speaking facts. So he's over here trying to act like he's Big Willie and telling all the secrets about what Pfizer's been doing. So let's take a little listen to what he's saying. Uh-oh, we buffering.
That's the one I sent you, right, Jamie? That you also had it already?
Yes.
I didn't even know that was what it was about, that they were gay.
God, Mom.
That's how naive I am. Oh, my God.
About mutating COVID?
Well, that is not what we say to the public. No, don't tell anyone this. You probably shouldn't tell anyone. You probably shouldn't tell anyone. Okay? We're exploring, like, now, you know how the virus keeps mutating?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we're exploring is, like, why don't we just mutate it ourselves so we could create undeveloped develop new vaccines, right? So we have to do that. If we're going to do that, though, there's a risk of, like, as you could imagine, no one wants to be having a pharma company mutating viruses. It be, like, very controlled to make sure that this virus that you mutate doesn't create something that, like, you know, goes everywhere.
Something crazy.
Is the way that the virus started in Wuhan. To be honest, like it makes no sense if this virus popped out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah, I know. Meet Jordan.
So he basically admits that Pfizer is mutating strains of the virus to then develop different vaccines for those mutated viruses.
So they can make money later.
Did you see that Pfizer finally came out with a statement
Yep.
at 8 p.m. on Friday
Secretly.
night?
Right.
Yeah.
Secretly.
So
They
no
know
one.
nobody's paying attention
Yeah.
on a Friday night.
And in that statement, they basically they tried to beat around the bush to say that they don't do gain of function research in any way, but in rare cases we do have mutations of the virus that we observe in the lab,
Right.
but it's perfectly safe.
It's game. Game.
Like
So it's gain of function. is
Yeah,
what you're saying.
right. So what you're saying is- right.
You're doing this exact thing you say you're not doing.
the same thing Fauci did.
Then
Where it's like
then they
Gain of
redefined.
function.
They redefined it though.
after Fauci changed the definition,
Yes,
then they redefined it. Yeah. So this dude spills the beans, and and it's funny because this is happening in more and more of these Project Veritas videos, where like there's a point in the date where he's like. You're asking me all these questions. I'm getting a little worried. Like you're not recording me, are you? like there's that company that company that catches all these people on dates, and people think like he's
Oh
literally
my
saying,
God.
Saying it in there, yeah.
but he can't stop
he can't- I was
himself.
gonna say he can't resist it though.
He can't stop himself. So
That's that pride, man.
yo,
Yeah,
dude,
and
it's-
you think you're gonna get lucky.
Exactly. You gotta-
Your
you-
goal at the end.
there's
dude.
something
That's
in the
it's
psych.
to sell, like you're selling.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta sell.
That's why I'm gonna make a point. I think I heard Tim Pool say it. He said that conservatives pay attention to both sides.
Yeah.
They know Project Veritas and they know what CNN is saying. The left though, they're just on their side, have no idea who Project Veritas is.
So they don't
Like
know what to look at.
They just hear like whisperings of people getting in trouble and
Right.
getting taped and stuff.
Yeah,
they
they
don't
d-
know who James O'Keefe is. They don't know who Project Veritas is. So to keep the story going, James O'Keefe then confronts this guy. Have you guys seen this?
Yes.
Yes.
I did.
And this is one of the most epic meltdowns I've ever. Like this dude loses it. Have you seen this, Mom?
Ah.
Okay, so let's
Pay
play a
attention
little.
to what he says initially.
Yes, yes.
Hey there. Is this seat taken? You work for Pfizer. My question for you is why does Pfizer want to hide from the public the fact that they're mutating the COVID viruses.
Is this real life? I'm literally a liar. I was trying to impress a person on a date by lying. This is absurd.
Please don't touch me. Well, this is not. By the way,
Why are you doing
don't
this?
tell anybody.
This is someone who's just working at a company to literally help the public. You f***ed up. You really did. Please bring the cops as soon as possible. I'm really very unsafe.
Can you please unlock your door?
No, don't let them leave.
Playing the
Please unlock
victim.
the door.
Give me what is going on?
Look. He smashes their iPad.
Please unlock the door. Please unlock the door. Unlock the door.
Those are his survival skills.
We're trying to unlock the door. Unlock the door.
Whoa.
What does
Yo,
he think's gonna happen?
Exactly.
So to me, when you think about like reaction wise, that's the sign of someone who knows they're in trouble.
They're wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they don't know, like they're trying to figure out, how do I fix this? How do I?
But I'm just saying, like, does he think that the iPad has everything?
Right.
Gonna
You don't,
destroy
think
the-
you don't think they have
There's
backup?
no backup
dude?
anywhere.
I'm gonna
It's all
destroy
on
the
iPad.
evidence.
That's just evidence of him just like panic mode.
Yeah. That's
Straight
how
up.
It's first sign of
I
guilt.
went on a date.
Yeah, because he
my
thinks
God.
that he's gonna he called the police, and then he was trying to get the store owner, the restaurant owner, to not let them leave.
Yeah, that was
Because-
the short version.
Yeah, because he's thinking that once the police get there, they're gonna force them to delete the footage or something. I don't know. Like, what's
Yeah.
gonna happen, bro? Like,
First of all, that's illegal. Like
yeah.
the
Yeah,
you
store
can't
store
lock the
owner
door.
locked the door on
yeah,
him.
yeah.
You know.
Is he gonna get fired?
I'm probably.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I
don't
want to
think
show
they
y'all this
fired him
part
yet.
too, because this was pretty crazy. Pull it back up, Mom. So after James O'Keefe finally leaves, this dude runs out in the street and is like trying to stop random cars
Because he thinks
from
that's
leaving.
them.
He thought that was them.
Cops, they're right there. No, stop.
He's like
Oh
jumping.
my goodness.
He's charging the guy, charging.
You can't make an arrest at this point if you don't have the victim right here.
Okay. 'Cause if he was here, you'd arrest that guy?
If he was here, yes.
Oh, then we could just walk away then. Not worry about it.
So basically, the police saw the footage from the cameraman. The cameraman stayed behind and showed the police the footage, and they said, but James O'Keefe had already left, so they said if he was still here, we could charge him and we could arrest this guy. But because he left, we
Which
can't.
James O'Keefe.
that doesn't make any
Nah.
sense.
No,
though.
arrest the
Tristan.
dude,
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That don't make sense, right?
What?
If he committed a
You see,
crime,
but I think you need the charging party there. I don't know. It's New York, bro. Like, who knows?
yeah.
They have their own rules. But yeah, I thought that was one of the most epic.
Yeah, so if
Reactions,
you watch
man,
like the
yeah.
long video, like you see him like
He's
panic,
panicking.
and then he plays the victim. Stop it! You're hurting me.
Yes.
After he's grabbing the iPad and
Yeah.
trying to smash it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things. Project Veritas is becoming a huge problem for people, man.
Yeah, which is good, man. Keep these corporations honest. if
Stop.
you can.
Stop spilling the beans.
Yeah. Did you hear about the dude from Shazam?
No.
The-
Which dude?
The app
The,
Shazam?
the main dude that played just Shazam.
Oh.
What happened with him?
Oh yeah.
They have a new movie coming out.
Yeah. So apparently they're trying to cancel him now
Yeah.
and trying to boycott the movie because he posted something about Pfizer, just saying like Pfizer is one of the
Yeah.
worst companies in the world. He didn't say anything about vaccines. He didn't say anything about, the COVID. He just said the company Pfizer.
Right.
And then I think he posted a link to like the $2 billion fine that they got for falsely advertising something, you know what I mean? And the massive amounts of fines that they've been fined for paying out to people that they've vaccine injured or hurt with
Right.
their medications, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like you can't even criticize a mega corporation anymore.
Yeah. That used to be the left.
That ain't that crazy? The left
The-
will just attack you
Yeah.
for criticizing a big corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So along those lines, here goes some propaganda
On January
from
4th, I was-
MSNBC.
Oh.
Did you see
Our
this?
favorite.
Seen it.
So
I haven't.
This host was out for a while, and she came back and let everybody know that she was out because she had pericarditis and myocarditis. And just watch the spin. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I have been dealing with a little bit of a health scare. On December 20th, I began to feel chest pains, and they waxed and waned over a period of 10 days. I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, but as they continued to get worse, I started to think something was actually wrong. It was December 30th when I finally went to an urgent care and was told I had reflux. I didn't really buy it, but I was relieved it wasn't my heart. My body, though, was pretty certain not to believe the reflux. The next day, on December 30th, I woke up with severe pains.
Isn't it funny how we can always pick and choose when we don't believe doctors?
Happen to follow the signs.
And then they seem to be wrong a lot. You know what I mean? Like, we just breeze past that, though, all the time.
In my chest and my
Stop being critical. Stop making sense.
shoulder, and it was like a tightening in my chest when I took deep breaths. That got worse when I was laying flat. I knew enough at that moment to understand that it could mean, could is the key word here, that I was having a heart attack, especially because it was happening in the left part of my shoulder. I want to remind you, I run 7 miles 3 to 4 times a week, or I did.
Yeah.
I've been working too much. I'm a pretty healthy person. But on that day, I was anything but. My husband drove me to the emergency room, and from there, the nightmare that has been my January began. I was diagnosed with pericarditis, inflammation of the lining of my heart, brought on by a virus, a literal common cold.
I'm just going to stop that right there.
A common cold?
Yeah.
The cold that she had months earlier gave her pericarditis. And that's why she's doing this whole PSA segment to let everybody know. You see what's happening here, right?
Yeah.
He's about to twist.
You got to chum those waters, man.
That's the spin.
You got to chum those waters with the information they need. Because once they start seeing more and more of this happening, they got to be able to equate it to something. They got to be able to misdirect you. Misdirect you.
I also had fluid
Did she state
around
her jab status?
Oh, triple double boosted, baby.
You know she is.
my heart that had to be drained, or else it could hinder the beating of my heart. I was hospitalized for 4 nights and transferred from a local hospital to NYU Langone here in New York City. On January 4th, I was finally discharged after doctors drained the fluid around my heart, and I bounced out of the hospital. I couldn't get out of there fast enough with the hopes I was on the mend. But that was not the end. 3 days later, I was readmitted when I felt a flutter in my heart, like a butterfly. It was inside my chest. They determined I had developed myocarditis, inflammation of the actual heart now.
And you're telling me a cold did all this?
The heart muscle. I remember being shepherded through the emergency room and wondering, is this it? It wasn't, thank God. Instead, I spent 5 more days in the hospital where they ran a battery of tests, adjusted my meds, and made sure nothing else was fueling what was happening. And in fact, in the end, it was still just the cold that was doing all of this, that had caused all of this inflammation in and around my heart.
And that is the moral of the story, kids.
Yo.
If anything happens to you in this nature, you probably had a cold at some point. Look nowhere else, okay?
Pay no attention to that spiky thing that's roaming around in your blood.
I would love to read the comments on that original post.
Yeah, you already know. It's crazy.
Is Fauci on there somewhere?
Probably.
It was a common cold.
The data says.
Yeah, don't fall for it.
Right.
There's so many people who, took the vaccine out of fear and took it out of what they heard from the media. You think there's a little bit of a reckoning going on, like with the media?
I think there's a lot of people trying to scramble to figure out what's going on, because I think a lot of people don't know
what's going. I'm saying in the media, like I don't think they're trying to figure out what's going on. It seems like they're just trying to figure out how we spin it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're saying in the media companies? Yes. Absolutely.
I'm saying what I'm saying is that is there, because there was such a wrath such an anger against anti-vaxxers or people who,
especially MSNBC.
Yeah, people who didn't want to.
There's definitely
such a
there's a lot of people.
attack.
There's a lot of people admitting that they were wrong for that. You know what I mean? Scott Adams, who was like a huge, he was coming at everybody, calling them anti-vaxxers. He did a whole post about how they were right. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So
remember the whole article about how we need to have a COVID anonymity or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm saying the people who are still trying to double down.
Yeah.
The
Bill Gates and the Fauci.
Even Bill Gates, he sold all his shares of BioNTech.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Something's about to come out.
Yes.
Because he dumped them.
Wow.
And he spoke out against. He came out and said that the vaccines don't work.
He did.
Yeah.
He said we need
Bill
something
Gates.
better.
You know what he means by we need something better.
Right.
But
he wants to do another one.
he dumped that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the media is suffering. MSNBC's ratings are in the freaking toilets.
All they got to do is be honest. Like, go back to some type of journalism.
Yeah.
Try to uncover some type of truth.
Right.
But they can't.
Ask questions. Push back against
their
these people.
truth.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Mom.
The test kits for the COVID.
Yeah.
Do you think those have things in it too when you test yourself?
Like it's preloaded.
I don't know.
Where'd you get that idea? What website you get that idea from?
No, it's no website. I was just thinking about it because it all comes from the same place.
That's yeah.
That was an
And I
early
was
thing
thinking-
that came out.
That's when it it starts to go too far for me. Like when you think like, oh, there's, but I mean, we know that Bill Gates was talking about getting it in the food supply.
Yeah.
Vaccinating the animal population so that people will ingest it through eating it. This is not even conspiracy. This is what they're talking about doing.
The only reason why I asked that because so many people got those kits.
Yeah.
To test themselves for different things. They have cold. They test themselves. We don't know.
Yeah. And it would come, and if you consider all of the false positives that they gave, with that at-home test, it might have been. I mean, because all you need is like a little something to,
yeah,
and then they'll just say it's positive.
Well, we already know the dude who invented the PCR test said that they're being used completely wrong, and that
it wasn't made for that.
Yeah, and that there's no way to really know if someone has a virus from the small amount of testing that they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
So it's all interesting, but back to the mainstream media, like their numbers are tanking.
Yeah.
Especially CNN and MSNBC.
CNN had the worst. It just came out.
Yeah,
they
worst.
had like 20,000 views or something.
Record lows again. And
It's
every time they report, it's record lows. I mean, people aren't watching. Their fan base is getting old, and that's part of it as well. Like a lot of people aren't watching cable news anymore. Think about it. When's the last time you watched cable news?
I don't have cable.
I don't have cable either.
Right. And then anyone younger, we're in our 40s, so people younger than us, they ain't watching no news. It's like we get all our stuff from people online.
Yeah.
People that we follow online, Breaking Points, Tim Pool, whoever you listen to that's unbiased news source that is just giving you factual information. And I like Breaking Points because both of them are on two different ends of the spectrum, so you see them debate different topics. You know what I mean?
And that's what you need, so you can
come to your own conclusion.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they agree on stuff.
Right.
Because it is. I mean, there's you got to take it with a grain of salt, everything. But
that's what the mainstream media doesn't want you to do. They want to give you your opinion.
They want to tell you this is how you're supposed to think about everything.
Yeah, and like he was saying, the wrath that they put out there for the people who weren't vaccinated or decided not to get the jab, they were so wrathful against them.
Yeah. Yeah, they literally on their shows. I think Don Lemon even said it. Like these people shouldn't get medical attention.
Yeah, and even a doctor that was on there.
Yeah.
When
Yes.
The last thing won.
Did you see her recently? She
turned
totally
around.
changed her tune.
Yeah.
Oh, because something happened.
Because something
with
happened to her daughter.
Kids, yeah.
So now
And-
she totally changed her tune.
It shouldn't take that
Right.
to go through that trauma just to, come
But
to the truth.
this is what we're dealing with in America. We're dealing with a lack of honor and a lack of respect for people, just for your brother, lack of love.
Yep.
And that's why. So, and that's why I said that, because like they're giving out all this angst, and again, everything that was done with Trump, and the way they spun everything with that whole thing, and even the people who were the people they called far right, all that stuff, how they spun all that, it was always implication.
Yeah.
It was always implied. It wasn't just news. It wasn't just like, these are the facts.
Right.
And this is what's going on. It was, no, this is what's going on the way we see it, and we're telling you the way you need to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a judgment put on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, even people, I think they made a huge mistake by the way they treated Joe Rogan. They didn't understand the reach and the following that guy has, and a lot of people saw like, yo, what are y'all doing? Right. And then when Sanjay Gupta came on there and he confronted him about it, and then he looked dumb, and then he went back on MSM or CNN with Don Lemon, and then backtrack on what he said. It just makes it obvious to a lot of people about what's going on and how these people, you can't trust what they're telling you.
Yeah. There's in Romans 2 it talks about I think it's Romans 2. Might be Romans 3. Anyway, it talks about not judging, right?
Yeah.
Not judging people so harshly, and not judging before you understand. And it speaks about, that's where it says like it's the kindness of God that leads people to repentance.
Yeah.
It's not about judgment. Because a lot of times you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it says you're storing up wrath for the day of wrath. So I just thought that was interesting, storing up wrath for the day of wrath. And then there's another part, I think it's in Psalms, where it says that the fear of the Lord is his treasure or his storehouse. But it also says that his storehouse is is where his weapons are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like he has a storehouse for weapons. This is heavenly things, like, and even in Revelations talks about how wrath is poured out like a bowl from heaven. So it reaches to a point where it fills up and then it pours out. And people speak and speak and speak and speak because they see they ain't doing anything until you get the lion. Like, we were talking about that yesterday. Like, you keep messing with a lion until it turns and bites you.
Yeah, you want to yell in the face of a lion and then be surprised when it bites you.
Yeah. And I think it's also speaks to men, because that's how men are. Like, if you look at a lot of bad relationships, men will like take a lot from women. Women will be really disrespectful, yelling, and getting in dudes' faces, pushing their heads. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna do nothing. And then like a guy will take it, and then he punches her.
Right.
And then she's like, "Oh my God!" You know what I mean? So, I can't believe you did that. Now she's the victim, but she's been
poking
Tommy said that she's been throwing pebbles.
Right.
The whole time. But when he drops a stone, like
getting all the women mad.
No, but that's because it says in the Bible, women respect your husbands. You know what I mean? Women respect your husbands, because men will store it up. But then they get to that point where it's like, all right, this is enough. I'm not. And then you're like, the woman's like, oh my God, like how?
Where is this coming from?
But you don't realize how much he's been taking, And I'm not even saying like it's right to. I'm not saying it's right to hit a woman. I'm not saying any of that. But I'm just saying, can you understand why it happens?
Yeah.
Like, is it wise to get in the face of somebody who's stronger than you, but you forget?
Bill Burr has a joke about that where he's like, people say you should never hit a woman, and he's like, never. He's like, I can think about 12 reasons right now.
We don't agree with Bill Burr.
Hey, let me tell you something. If some woman is trying to snatch your child from you, what are you going to do?
Oh.
Is that not a reason? If a woman comes at you to try to rob you with a gun, what are you going to do? Is that not a reason? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't say never. Like, it's just not realistic.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a dumb way that this society has overshot the protection of women in a lot of ways.
And that's my point. That's why I'm bringing up the man-woman thing that has to do with this, because if you look at this country, the husband becomes the government.
Yeah.
You know, for a lot of women, especially women in poverty.
Yep.
The husband becomes the government, or the government becomes the husband.
Yep.
And it's not a good. It's basically, I'll be your provider.
It's an abusive husband, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just got to give me your kids. You know, give me your life.
Yeah.
You know. So, and then and get rid of the men.
Mm-hmm. Get rid of the men.
But the men are the ones that actually uphold the integrity of your life. So when you, and I'm not even faulting the government, because you gave it to the government because they made something sound good, and you gave it over to them.
They enticed you.
Yeah.
Government by the consent of the governed.
But there's I don't know. It seems like there's something to that. Like, are we in a time where we might start actually understanding what the fear of the Lord looks like? You know,
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see Biden talk about sending tanks over to Ukraine? Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
More
tanks and planes
and trains.
Yeah.
More of our money.
But
did you hear he said the trains?
Yes, he said trains. But let me show you this, because this is in direct well, he's sleepy, bro. He's sleepy.
With their tanks and their guns and their bombs
and their trains.
He'd have been better singing that.
Yeah. Let's watch it.
Will never falter. But look, the idea that we're going to send in offensive equipment and have planes and tanks and trains going in with American pilots and American crews, just understand, and don't kid yourself, no matter what you all say. That's called World War III. Today, I'm announcing that the United States will be sending 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine, the equivalent of 1 Ukrainian battalion. Secretary Austin has recommended this step because it will enhance the Ukraine's capacity to defend its territory and achieve its strategic objectives.
Yeah.
He said World War III.
So he's basically was saying, this was months ago when he was saying
the first one.
The first video was from months ago where he was saying, we're not going to do that because that would be World War III. Mm-hmm. And then the later video is him now saying, we're going to do that. So just wanted to point that out.
Read my lips, no new taxes.
Yeah, right. Right. No,
that's a classic.
Some more taxes.
Right. Read my lips.
Right.
No new taxes.
Yeah. How do you know when a politician is lying?
They're talking.
Their lips are moving. Their lips are moving. Exactly. We don't have to see the Paul Pelosi footage. Did you guys see this?
I haven't seen it.
Yes.
I mean,
there's some strange anomalies, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go.
There's
Let's
some
play
strange stuff, yo.
I want to see it.
Because at first when you sent this, I was like, I don't see nothing new. Like, yeah, because I wasn't watching all the way.
Yeah.
I just saw the door open and then they go in. So
He like get knocked out in the sleep.
Yo, he was gone,
Knocked
bro.
out.
It was brutal. It was brutal. I'm not gonna play all that, but what I do want to show is this part right here. So when the door opens, Paul Pelosi has one hand on the hammer, his other hand is holding a drink. Who opened the door? Watch it again.
How can you tell what's in his hand?
Who opened? But look, the door is opening.
Because the hammer's in the guy's right hand.
Maybe the hammer.
No, he has his right hand. The guy has his hammer on the right in his right hand.
his
Paul
right hand.
Pelosi's right hand is holding the hammer as well. His left hand, he has a drink in his hand. If you watch the rest of the clip, he's holding a drink.
Okay.
So there's like you can see in the glass, bro. There's somebody else there. Hold up.
Was there an orgy?
Look, somebody else posted it from this angle through that window. I don't know if you can see somebody, but
yeah,
it's
it looked like
kinda
there's it looked like a
strange.
shadow.
Silhouette there.
Well, who opened the door? Somebody.
We don't know. Look, see how the door's still opening, Jake?
Yeah.
Like, yo, that's weird. And the fact, like, when you watch it, the fact that the door opens and he kind of just stands there. He doesn't like run to the police.
Yeah.
He doesn't try to get away. He
And
just
he has a drink in his hand.
yeah, and he has a drink in his hand.
Like, come on.
Why would you still be holding the drink in your hand if this dude is got a hammer? Like, it's just strange, man. It definitely
Maybe the hammer was the toy.
No, stop, dude.
There's some weird stuff.
That's weird, dude. That's weird.
The whole thing is weird.
It is.
And they're not,
Of course.
they're not digging into it.
Nah, well, the one guy got
no.
fired.
Yeah,
So,
the one dude did.
black dude.
Yeah,
told the truth.
Yeah.
the San Francisco reporter, right?
Yeah. He told the truth before he was supposed to.
Yeah. They didn't cut their deal yet.
Yeah. They said, you got to go, brother. That was not authorized information. All right, so Jake sent me this YouTube short. This is a quick one, but I thought this was hold on. I'm trying to these shorts are annoying.
Anytime teaching people
Okay. So I thought this was super interesting because this is a master class in showing people's psychological nature to be a victim. You know what I'm saying? Like how they will see themselves as a victim if they have the opportunity.
And how you can give somebody their perspective.
Yep.
Of how to see something.
And this is what they do to us.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they manipulate us. Because if they can put you in that state of victimhood, then they can offer you the solution to take you out of victimhood, but it's through control. Mm-hmm. So let's watch this this little story.
that they're victims is so incredibly damaging and so incredibly dangerous. They did an experiment with a group of women, and they put scars on their faces, and they told these women that they're going into a job interview, and the purpose of the experiment is to find out whether people with facial disfigurements face discrimination. They showed them the scars in the mirror, and as they led them out of the room, they said, we're just going to touch it up a little bit. And as they touched it up, they removed the scarring completely. So the women went into the job interview thinking that they are scarred, but actually being their normal selves. And the result of the experiment is that those women then came back reporting massively increased level of discrimination. Many of them came back with comments that the interviewer had made that they felt were referencing their facial disfigurements. And this is why I think this ideology of victimhood is so dangerous, because if you preach to people constantly that we're all oppressed, then that primes people to look for that, teaching people that they're victims.
That's it right there. I wish we could see that experiment happen in real. Like I wish they had the footage. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because that's genius to me. Like you can get people to be in the mind frame of they're insecure about something. So they go into a room and now they project everything you say onto their insecurity.
Right.
And they even think you're talking about it when it doesn't even exist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Especially for women. I know that's probably extra difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is what we're literally dealing with this in this society today.
Yes. Everything is being seen through the lens of victim, mentality. Mm-hmm. So if you go into every situation looking for it, you're going to find it. and you're gonna even infer everything as an assault or some type of oppression. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny. Like sometimes when I go out with my wife, she's like, "Oh, this girl's looking at you," or she'll say, "She's like, but you're always oblivious of it."
Yeah.
I'm like, that's because I don't care.
Right.
Like, I'm not paying attention to it. And I'm like, but why are you?
Yeah.
Like, why are you looking for it?
Yeah.
You know, because even if they are, so what?
Right.
And she's like, yeah, because if they're looking at me, you don't care. Exactly. What am I gonna do? Oh, hey, like,
right.
Unless they're like, you know,
looking at my girl,
yeah,
yo.
yeah, you like what you see,
right?
I'm like, yeah, well, that makes me feel better about myself. Oh, okay. But my point is that it's a different perspective, you know?
Yeah.
And I find that with, like sometimes with my wife, like getting her out of the perspective she's in, you know, like, why are you even focusing on that? Let's focus on this, you know?
Yeah.
Because it changes the way you view everything. You're viewing everything through that filter.
Mm-hmm.
How you relate it back to yourself. It's a mirror.
Just like you ever hear the saying, you see everything through rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
There's an inverse of that.
Right.
Where you see everything through
shit-colored
glasses. Yeah, mud-colored glasses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Like, everything is negative all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with people that are always sick.
Yes.
Always getting sick. They're always, it's victim mentality. They want attention. And they did a study about that. And they gave the people that kept saying they were sick water. Inject them with water. And then they were fine.
You know what's crazy, Mom? Like, this is something that is scientifically proven. We have it. It's called a placebo.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The placebo effect.
Yeah. The placebo effect. Like, it's scientifically proven. And when they do these double-blind studies, they have to have a placebo group to balance out the results, because it is a known fact that just giving someone the idea of medication can heal them, which is crazy. That's how powerful our minds are. Yeah.
And thinking on the right things.
Yeah.
What does it say, Philippians 4? Think on these things. Whatever is lovely, whatever is kind. Like, there's a reason why it says think on these things.
Yeah.
That's why I said earlier, like Romans 2, where it talks about, like, no, it's the goodness of God that leads to repentance. Stop judging everybody and trying to pick them all apart.
Right.
Like, you're seeing it through the wrong lenses.
Yeah.
Right? You're filtering everything through your own
my
image.
Right.
But if you'll always, that's why it always says, like, focus on God.
Mm-hmm.
Set your eyes on Jesus. Because when you're looking towards him, beyond anything else, you're going to see, what did he do? He loved people past everything, past all their flaws, right? When he went to the tax collectors, thieves, prostitutes. He went and ate with them, right? And what did the Pharisees say? What did the people, the religious say?
Elites.
He basically said, "How dare you?"
Yeah. Do you know what kind of people they are?
Yeah.
You can't see past that filter,
right?
How you judge. So and it's hard for all of us. Like, it's not easy, but that's why we need him. You know, that's why we need him. He challenges us.
You know, when you, like you were saying, think on these things, lovely and pure. It's about, what are you thinking on? Is kind of what you're gonna bring forth. You know, and it also speaks to prayer. You know, and how when you look at, like, the Damar Hamlin thing, for example, how you had a whole country pretty much praying for this guy. And the doctor saying that basically it's a miracle that he survived this.
Yeah.
I saw Adam Curry on Joe Rogan.
I saw that.
You saw that clip?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because he brought that up to Joe, because Adam Curry is all of a sudden
A Christian
out of nowhere. Like and this is funny because he said, how did he become a Christian? Because he said, I've researched all these conspiracies my whole life, JFK, the moon landing, all these things, and I never researched God. And like what people...
And Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, but he said God specifically. I never researched God. But that doing the research into God is what led him to Jesus.
Right.
And then now he's like a full-on believer, and he's talking to Joe Rogan about the power of like just everyone coming together and thinking on something positive for some, pointing that towards one person and the effect that can have in the world. And even Joe had to be like, yeah, like for us to just think that we're so smart that we think that there's no way that could be possible for everyone to be on one frame of mind and to think of something and that thing happen is ignorant. Basically he was saying, it was, in not in those exact words, but basically in those words, he was saying like, even he had to admit that like, yeah, there is an argument for prayer. You know what I mean? There is an argument for everyone kind of on one accord, believing in one thing simultaneously. Because if we can all believe in something negative and watch that all happen, that's the opposite of prayer, basically.
Yeah. He even said, like, when you go to different cities, you feel a vibe about it.
Did he? I didn't see that part. Yeah.
Yeah, he even said that. He said, He's like, you can tell when you go to a city and you go to this part and it's like poverty and you feel that darkness. He was saying stuff like that. So, yeah. But he says, but then you feel a different vibe other places. You know? He's trying to put it into his own words.
It's interesting watching like him kind of come a long way in a lot of senses, because he even said in that interview, like, when I was younger, I would make fun of anyone who was religious, and I would just like bash them. I would talk trash and think they were idiots, or think that he said I thought that they were someone who was duped. That's what he said. That's how I viewed them. Like, you've been duped. And he no longer sees it that way anymore, which is interesting.
That's a good transition.
Yeah. It's funny, man. Just and it's, so many people are coming to that he's interviewing are talking to him about God, which is crazy.
That he didn't even realize, like him.
He never expected Adam Curry to bring that up.
Right.
Jordan Peterson,
You see, he's starting a whole movement against the WEF.
Yes.
That whole mentality.
Yep.
The elite mentality. That's cool.
Yeah.
Who,
man.
Rogan?
No, Jordan Peterson. Meanwhile, Sam Harris is out in La La Land somewhere. What happened to that guy? He is just, he's literally like losing his stuff. Like, he's just getting more and more in the weeds with crazy.
That's what pride does to you.
Yep.
When you want to hold on to something so bad, when everything is showing you something else.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you start going crazy.
Yeah.
Because God is putting all these things before you, and you ain't trying to hear it.
Right.
I mean, look at Nebuchadnezzar.
Yep. I was just thinking of that when you said it.
Yeah.
I just read
what happened
that.
to him?
I just read it in the Bible, Nebuchadnezzar.
That dude, like, people don't think about that. He was eating grass.
Yeah.
Like, he was running around like an animal for, I think it was 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years.
7 years.
Lost his mind.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he just comes.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
And he starts praising God.
Yeah. It's crazy. All right, so let's get into these clips that you sent me. So give a little preamble for this.
I hate when I forget somebody's name, but all right, he wrote a book, and you can see it in the background. I think it's called The Boy Crisis.
Okay.
And it's speaking about the epidemic that's with men and young boys, like the raising up of boys, and how bad it is, especially in America right now, for boys.
Yeah.
And like, he even met with the White House. I don't know if it was Biden or Trump, but it's
pretty sure Biden didn't want to meet about boys. Maybe for a different reason.
That not nice. That not
And
nice.
so he went into a lot of. There's a lot of good information. That's why I cut up a lot of stuff and just put it on because it's good information. It's stuff. It's sobering information because a lot of it is just statistics, right?
Right.
Statistics are truth. They're not. They don't give you the reason why.
Yeah. And they can be
so I wanna
used.
say-
They can be used to lie. As
Right.
Well.
I was
So I
about
wanna
to say
say
they
that.
can
Yeah.
use that.
Statistics are there, but the reasons are the more important thing. So
Let me just give a quick shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Make sure you guys hit the like button for us, please. Don't forget to share this video because the algorithm does not let people know when we go live. So please hit that like button. We're about to get into the main topic of the evening, why boys are in crisis in this country, modern society. I think the title I put was Modern Society is Destroying Boys.
When women have a college education, they are 92% of the people who are file for divorce. When they don't have an education, much like they only graduated from high school as opposed to college, the percentages are lower.
Why so?
Was that?
Why so?
Because when a woman has economic security, she needs the man less for economic security. Yeah. She senses that if she sues, if she's a plaintiff, she has some advantages legally that allow her to make it likely that she will both get a significant amount of economic security in the future and will also profit the children. She basically has the right to the children. He has to fight for the children, and if he fights for the children, it will cost him maybe $125,000 to $250,000 to fight for the children. And
that's actually a very true point. I saw a whole debate between the lead attorney and Ruslan. Did you ever see this debate?
I saw some of it.
Where he was making that point to Ruslan, like how, because Ruslan was trying to show, and again, statistics, right? So he was giving the lead attorney a statistic about people that fight for their kids in court, and he was like, well, you know, it's not true that women are favored in the court system because 90% of men who fight for their kids in court win those cases.
Right.
And the lead attorney was like, yeah, but you don't even understand what you're looking at. He was like, I do this. I'm an expert in this. I've been doing divorces for 30 years. He's like, most of the cases, men don't even fight because they don't have the money to afford it.
The 90% are the elite.
The elite men who can afford to do it and also have a great case that they know they can win already. Most lawyers won't even tell. If they don't know for a fact that they can win that case, they're not going to tell you to waste your money. Because then you're going to spend $50,000 to not even win a case. So that statistic is something that you can't rely on to infer what that means. Right. You know what I mean? Just wanted to but
thank God I didn't have to fight for my son.
Bro, you're blessed. You are blessed, dude, for real, because like, he was saying that when I go into to represent a man, he said I usually tell them don't even do it. Don't even fight for him. Because you're just going to waste your money.
Wow.
And that's a problem with the way family court is set up and has been set up for a long time.
Yeah.
It's the system is set up towards women.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
Yep. All right, let's keep
going.
going.
I mean, I told y'all the story about like I didn't have to go to court. It was like video.
Yeah.
Like it was like a Skype thing. And when the judge was reading off, the end of our case, we already agreed to everything. He was like, the child will reside with the mother. I let the judge finish. I was like, you got something wrong, Your Honor. The child is staying with me. So that told me, and like I'm like he automatically
just defaulted to that.
Just straight up just
dude, that's
that was
crazy.
Yeah,
you see.
And then when I told him that, he was like, he had this like look on his face, like wow,
yeah,
like this is unusual.
Yeah,
So,
but if she would have fought, might have ended up a different way.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Which
but you know what though, like that was. When all this happened, I prayed to God. I was like, I do not want to lose my son. I want to come home to him every day, Lord. And he answered my prayers, man. So
Praise God, man. Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Oftentimes,
because he's going to get into this about how it's better for him to be with you, basically.
Yep.
It just breaks his heart. So men and women who are going through family court, men often get so depressed by the process that they're 8 times as likely as the mother is to commit suicide.
Okay, so why do
8
men
times
file?
as likely
Go ahead.
than
Speak on
women
it.
to commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The divorce. And, you know, again, you hear stories about women. Why are some reasons why men file divorce?
I just realized he got that lion logo, bro.
Yeah.
We on the same team, Patrick. We on the same team.
It looks like the Brave logo, don't it?
It does. It does.
Well, first of all, both sexes file for divorce largely because neither sex feels heard. That is the single biggest problem. The Achilles heel of all human beings is our inability to handle personal criticism without becoming defensive. And that's true of both men and women. When men do file for divorce, it's often because they feel that they just can't take it anymore. They feel that their alcoholism or their ideations of suicide, or the feeling that the mother really doesn't like him anymore, not even just not love him, but not like him. And then usually somewhere along the way, particularly if he's an executive or a corporate person, he moves around a lot and owns his own business. He might go from branch to branch of his business, and eventually meet somebody that really he feels respects him. Oftentimes his own secretary might be much more respectful of him than his wife. And so he feels like there's somebody else that can love me, that does understand me, that is proud of me. And then he has an affair with her. And that leads to him feeling that, and then usually the new woman wants more than just an affair, wants some security, wants some lifetime intimacy. He does too. And so that accounts for the 8% of people who are men that file for divorce usually, or the greater percentage of the woman has less of an education and is less likely to file. Then that starts increasing to about 20-25% of males filing for divorce.
So less than 25. Man, we know this. I mean, if you watch any red pill content, if you've seen any any of these people, they always spout that, most divorces are
filed by the women.
Filed by women. 80%, 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by women, and I think it's like a high majority, 85 to 90% of those are for irreconcilable differences. It's not anything other than that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's keep going.
And then the more I studied it, the more I realized that the single most important cause by a long shot was that basically the boy crisis resides where dads do not reside. Usually when there's one parent in the game and the other parent minimally involved or not at all involved, it's usually the mother that's the primary parent and the dad that's the secondary parent. And in those situations, the girls have challenges the daughters have challenges in more than 50 different areas. But the boys have challenges in more than 50 different areas also, but their challenges are more intense. They're more likely to commit suicide than the girls are by the data that you just gave. They're more likely to move into depression when you measure depression by male standards, which is almost completely unheard of, as opposed to just the female measures of depression. Almost all of our measures of depression are female measures. The boys are much more likely to become addicted to video games. Girls and boys both play video games. The video games are very healthy at a reasonable proportional amount of level to the rest of life. But when it comes to addiction to video games, boys are far more likely to be addicted to video games than girls are.
Would you know anything about that, Mom? Nothing.
Boys are far more likely to be addicted to drugs, to alcohol. Their depression leads them to feeling that they're worthless. And
About divorce, about...
Oh, you're not listening.
No, I'm listening.
Is that camera blurry?
Yeah. It is. Oh, yeah, you can switch it, Mom. Yeah,
What?
that camera is out of focus.
But what are you saying about...
He was talking about how boys are more likely to be addicted to video games. I thought you were paying attention.
No, I was, but I didn't know what you meant by that. But I know I do.
I have to, watch with Noah too. That's what he likes doing with his friends. He'll have FaceTime with his friends while he's playing video games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have actually implemented some rules for my kids. where they can't play video games over the weekday. They're not allowed to play video games or be on their iPads anymore. They can only be on their iPads.
Yeah, you gotta use the
video
ring
games
on the weekend.
On the weekends.
Oh wow!
And I'm already seeing how much they're playing with each other, figuring things out. I also did like a point system with them, to where reading and practicing like something, like soccer or whatever, practicing playing chess will give them points. They gotta do a lot of it, but it'll give them points instead of like giving them money. It'll give them points, and if they get a certain amount of points, they can get something. But they pick what they want. But I've been seeing a change just over the last couple weeks by taking away. At first, they were upset, and they're not even on it that much. But even just taking it away, they can't be on it at all.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw like, with Noah going through, this thing, the divorce or whatever like that. And, he had an issue with school, and it got so bad that, I just eliminated all that. But I saw his creative mind. I told you about this. Like, I took away his video games, took away his phone. He found stuff to do, dude. Like he started cutting up cardboard boxes and making weapons. He made this one axe that's like it's hard as heck. Like you can use it to knock somebody out. But I saw the creativity. He likes to build stuff, and he would never have found that if I just let him stay on the video game.
That's funny, Jamie. Aria was making cardboard stuff out of cardboard boxes too.
Yeah.
That hot glue gun.
Yeah, she's always doing stuff like that too. She's funny with that.
Yeah, you got to get them off, man. Let them do something else.
Yeah.
We did the same thing.
Yep. All right, let's keep going.
For themselves, and they fear that they're going to be rejected by girls, so they're much more likely to turn to pornography, because pornography is basically access to a variety of attractive women without fear of rejection at a price they can afford. And so guys, as they don't do as well in school, they don't feel as admired by girls. Girls tend to date winners, not losers. And so they feel that they're a loser, and that they fear that they can't risk rejection, because they know that the girls they're most attracted to are dating the quarterbacks or the student body president or some other guy that's really sharp, and on the basketball team, et cetera. And so they start fearing, becoming introspective, becoming withdrawn, becoming rebellious, becoming very coercive to their parents, and they feel badly about themselves, and that leads them into depression, into suicide, into drinking, into drugs, into death from opioid overdoses, and into addiction to pornography. And that addiction to pornography is very dangerous, because what happens for boys who are addicted to pornography is that the first time they are watching pornography, and just watching a woman, an attractive woman, take her clothes off is really exciting for them. But after they've watched that 15 times, it loses the excitement, and then
Yeah, I mean, I think that topic right there is one of the things we don't talk about enough on here. Is just the detriment of porn and what that does to young boys, what that does to society as a whole. We've mentioned it on the podcast in the past and talked about it, but it doesn't come up a lot. I think that's something that people have normalized so much now.
I was just thinking that it's so normal.
Yeah. Like people
you
talk
hear
about
women
it like
talking about it like it's it's nothing.
Pornhub releases their most searched categories every year, like it's a triumph, and people read it off and laugh about it, like, oh, this is what was the most searched thing this year in 2022.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you just think about access, there's value to access.
Yeah.
You have, like, if you don't have any value to access, you don't respect it.
Yeah.
So if you can just open something up and just have access to things that should be private.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also say this, like, everything, when you sexualize things, you'll see it differently. because you can be there's places in Africa that there's tribes that they walk around naked or with very little on, or at least with, women don't wear tops, in South America too. There's some tribes there and it's normal.
Yeah.
And people aren't they're not sexualized by it. Right. So it's how you view it too. Right. And that's the spin that people put on it. In a lot of ways, like with your kids, whatever. Like if you're being so cautious with your kids too, where you can't do anything around them, or you know what I mean? Like, dude, back in the day, people used to get changed together and like get naked before at our time it was like you don't do that. But it was already the sexualization started to happen. It was more prevalent in our time. But people would get undressed. We worked in a health spa. Yeah. And you know how the older men, like, they don't care. They didn't care. They just be in there like...
And especially people from other countries.
Right.
Different cultures. It was normal. Yeah.
Yeah, like, we always made the joke of, like, the old guy. Like, when we go in the jacuzzi, the guy sit right next to put his butt in your face. And like, But the thing is, like... The thing
Junior tells the story much funnier.
It was for them, like when you look at it from their perspective, like they're not thinking about it like that because it's not
right.
It's not even in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it where sometimes we can be, because of what we've been exposed to, we can be overly protective, right? So it's like you got to be protective in the right ways. Like, yeah, your kids shouldn't be watching porn or stuff like that. But like in other ways, like seeing a naked body shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's just got to be in the right perspective. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like it shouldn't be like I'm traumatized. Yeah. Because if it's in the right perspective, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But when you sexualize things and you see it, that now it becomes a big deal. So I don't know. I think this is just something I was thinking about. Like you go to other cultures, they're not thinking about it in that way.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem, but here it is. So you have to deal with it differently.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's funny, like you said, with the all the technology now, kids can see anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I was young, I didn't even think about it because it was not there.
You had no, like you said, access.
I had no access to anything,
Yeah.
and I never even thought of it because it was not there. But now it's like everywhere.
Yeah. I was watching a preview the other day, and my kids they were in their own room, and I wasn't even watching TV. I think Leslie turned it on, and then I was like, just scrolling. And I was about to leave, so I didn't even have time. I was just seeing what they had, like a couple new movies. So I was watching the preview for a movie, and then all of a sudden, these two women start kissing in the preview.
Yeah.
And here comes Jakey.
Wow.
And I'm like trying to like change it real quick. And he saw it, but then I gotta like explain it, and it's annoying because like caught me off guard, caught him. You know what I mean? Like. And it's hard not to have these kids get exposed to these things. So it's like, are you going to run from it or are you going to deal with it?
Yeah.
And there's things that happen. Like even the church people who are going to go out and evangelize or speak to people about God. You're not dealing with like people 100 years ago. They're not dealing with the environment we're dealing with now.
Right.
So you need different tools. You need different weapons.
Yeah.
You know, you need a different arsenal.
Yep.
You know, you can't be. We got guns now. You know what I mean? Back then they had arrows and swords and stuff,
daggers.
Like,
yeah.
It's you need different weapons. You know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just something that I was thinking about.
Yeah. Let me show y'all this. Our kids are being exposed to this right now.
Oh, what the heck?
That is, I'm not gonna play it. That is, Sam Smith's new music video.
Dude, turn that off.
That is Sam Smith's new music video. And only reason why I'm playing is because we're talking about this topic, and it's listed on YouTube as safe for kids.
Wow,
for real?
Sam Smith.
He's the guy who had that song "Stay with Me."
Oh wait, he got big.
I think he was always. He lost some weight when he. But
how is that safe for kids when it's the outfits? All right, so no, there's women in there. I was gonna make the argument because I thought they were, men. I thought they were all men.
Dude. Yeah, but what I'm saying is this is what we have to protect our children from, because that right there is not just
sexualizing.
Yeah, right.
Like the way they're acting, the way they're wearing what they're wearing, and they're wearing things.
Yeah.
But it's more sexual than just somebody standing there without a shirt on, just standing there.
Yeah.
Not, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's you feel it. It's different.
Yes.
That's why it's just like, oh no, it's just a body. No, but it's the act with the body. It's how you It's how you do what you're doing with your body.
Yeah.
It's the drag queen shows.
Yeah.
You can't compare twerking and the waltz are both technically dancing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't say one is the same as the other.
Right.
One is definitely more sexual.
Yeah.
So
the waltz is definitely sexual.
I didn't know twerking was dancing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's where it came from. It's from strippers in the strip club.
Yep.
Wow. Let's keep going with this.
Yeah, but I do want to just cap that off by saying, pornography is one of the worst things in the world for young men.
Mentally, yeah.
But before you go on, even in the church, they had did studies that when the men went to a conference, Christian conference, the worst pornography by the Christian men. That's sad.
I mean, listen, it's like Jake said, access, and I think we all know from growing up, being exposed to all of that, like what it did to us mentally, and like how bad that was.
Again, that was the culture.
It was.
Raps.
It was.
Trying to live up to that.
Yeah, yeah. And we were told that it was perfectly normal.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. And it's sad because it definitely sends you down a path of degeneracy, And then I just want to make a real quick point, because I was talking to Mike Suarez, shout out to him, on Sunday night. We were talking about music and Web3, and the topic of access came up in regards to music. And I was saying that I'm interested in the Web3 space and how it can bring the value back to music and bring the power back to the artist, because music is so accessible now that it has no value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just literally, like you said, same thing with access to pornography. It's like you can open up your phone and have access to anything you want. So
I think access is a key thing. In order to have access, you got to have keys.
Yeah.
Like there's something, I was talking about that earlier, like God's storehouse. You need access.
Yeah.
You can't just, you know what it says? I said that earlier, right? The fear of the Lord, or the fear of Yahweh, is his treasure. So think about that. Like it's through fear. It says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So that's, to know God is intimacy. If you're going to know God, you have to come in fear. Remember I spoke about, like, you have to fear your husband.
Yeah.
And, people, like, really, I don't mean you have to fear your husband, like be scared of him. I mean, you need to fear God, and in turn, you honor and respect your husband in fear. Because that gives you access to his heart.
Yeah.
That gives you access to his treasure. We're missing that. When men don't realize, like, think about Women will give you access to what they have, right? They talk about this in the red pill. What's their greatest commodity to red pillars?
Women?
Yeah.
Youth and beauty.
Youth and beauty. So they'll give you access to that. A lot of the women that are in these spaces through money.
Right.
Right? That's what's happening. So sexualization is not really the point. It's money that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Porn is because of money.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right.
They're giving you access. OnlyFans. They're giving you access because of money.
But do we know what's crazy about that? And the ironic thing is that in actuality, there seems like there's value in it because you can make money, so that's value, but it devalues it at the same time. Because anything that allows for everyone to have access now has no value.
Right.
It's like anything in the world. If the most valuable things are the things that most people can't access.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they're exclusive.
Right.
The kingdom of God is exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
God, you can be saved. Everybody can be saved by receiving God in your heart. That doesn't mean that you have a relationship with him. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
The more you fear him, the greater access you have to him. You know, it says, let me, you know how I said, we're on Young Lion podcast, the young lions suffer lack. It says those who fear the Lord will lack nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, let me teach you the fear of the Lord. Children, don't talk evil because you have because that's disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
See, if you can talk evil, just talking Romans 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can judge and speak about people that quickly. You got no respect.
Yeah.
You got no respect. You got no fear. You don't got access.
Mm.
The more you respect, and I think this is what this is my point, and the reason why I'm saying this is because men have to know that they carry something and they can't just give it away.
Mm.
And they've been giving it away to get access to things that don't mean anything.
And women too.
Women
Same
too.
thing.
But men,
they lead the way.
They lead the way.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying men lead the way. So the way a woman has a relationship with a man is through respect. A woman wants to know the man's secrets, because if she knows the man's secrets, she thinks that she has his trust, and he trusts her, she trusts him, right?
Right.
She can trust him, but isn't that fear?
Mm-hmm.
Women want to know everything. If you're searching through your husband's phone,
Yeah.
if you're looking for any, you're actually in fear.
What did Tommy say? He said a man wants a wife, not a warden.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. A guy don't. So he's gonna feel disrespected because you feel like you got to do that.
Yeah.
But a woman who trusts her man because she fears God.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're starting to see something. But a man who loves his wife, and is faithful to his wife because he fears God and loves God. Because he fears God. Now you're starting to see how it all works. It's not, our eyes are on God. Like the infighting with the women and the men is always because you're looking at the women or the man.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what you're focused on. So now the blame goes there. But when you take your eyes off of them and you put your eyes on God, then he can show you how to love them, or he can show you how to respect them when you don't see it.
Mm.
And so many women, they want deep down, they want trust. I think more than anything, women want trust. Women want security,
Mm-hmm.
right? They want to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
But they want it on their own terms.
Mm.
So because they want it on their own terms, they get what they ask for. Right? They get what they ask for.
Yeah.
But if they can get it on God's terms, see, now you got to give something up. Now you have to, that's where intimacy comes into play, because if you fear God enough to give up the thing that you're holding on to, because you fear losing this thing that ain't really going to help your life, you got to fear God more than that. And I think that's what's lacking in the world, but more than that, that's what's lacking in the church. Because you don't see it that much, especially in America. So if it's bad in America, then it's bad in the church. Where do you see it? Where's the example?
Yeah.
It's not easy to see. It's easy to talk about, oh, men need to step up. Or women need to stop being hoes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's easy to see those things because they're so in your face. But it's harder to see, I got to trust my man no matter what. I got to
love my wife no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier to see that. I mean, it's harder to see those things because it's not in your face all the time. What's in your face all the time causes you to fear. Because of fear, what do men fear the most? That they're not living up to the image they think they need to live up to. That's what men fear the most. I'm not a good enough husband. I'm not a good enough man. I'm not a good enough father.
Right.
Those are the things those are the things more than anything I think that men struggle with. I don't know if he said it yet, but he was talking about like how a lot of young men hear or the boys, they hear the way the mothers talk about their fathers who aren't living with them anymore. And then they look at that. They look in the mirror and they say, well, I don't want to be like my father, but am I like my father? Can I get away from that? That becomes that warfare that they're dealing with.
Did you ever struggle with that?
I think I did.
I did too.
Yeah, I definitely did. Yeah, and I wanted to talk about that. Like, we talk about how mom, she did her best, but she made a lot of mistakes, and dad did too. And it was, for us, we get the brunt of that.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm 43 years old, but I'm still learning how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But my kids don't have to go through that.
Right.
But it takes, that's why you have to look at it like, as a man, you need a man to look up to. You need something to look up to.
Right. And if you don't have the right person in that seat, you're going to place someone in that seat.
Right.
That's going to lead you in so many different ways.
Yeah. That's why a lot of kids in the inner city, they're literally looking for love when they're going to the gangs or whatever like that. It's like it's a perversion of love.
Mm-hmm. How many times do you see the story of the dude grows up in the hood, don't have a father, so there's the OG on the block or something, and he takes him under his wing, and it's the first time this young dude has ever felt that fatherly figure. So he'll do anything for this guy.
Yeah,
And
what you see a lot of times, especially in the inner city or in poverty, is that people are always vying for superiority, and they do it through intimidation. And it's through intimidation of you not knowing things, and people are always putting you down. I spent $400 on this just to be like, nigga, you ain't up on this.
Yeah.
Like, it's a put down.
Oh, use N-word.
in context. It's a put down though, right? That's what it like. He's speaking something that has been culturally ingrained, and he's just
pride.
He's just spewing it, but it's. I'm saying it's unconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's spoken consciously.
Right.
But it's an unconscious principle that's been put in play.
And it's funny because he's even pointing it out as something kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But still, I'm proud about it. Like, it's still a pride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like, this is dumb, but at the same time, this
right.
is how
it matters.
This is where
Yeah.
I come from.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So then you got to live up to this, this idea. But it's the opposite of how you're supposed to deal. Like, respect becomes perverted. So now how you get respect is you got to know more than the next person. And I gotta make sure you know that I know more than you.
Right.
Even though I really don't.
You know what's funny? You see that in so many dynamics. As you were saying that, I was thinking about sports and how, like, people will go all in, like listening, watching all the analyst shows, watching the game, taking notes, and like listening to talk radio all day just so they can know more than all their friends. And so when they get into their arguments, they can prove to everybody how I know more than you. You know what I mean? It's that same dynamic. It's that same dynamic where it's like,
I'm gonna one up you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you miss true discipleship. That's the point, because then you miss understanding how to be mentored, how to be truly fathered.
And it's crazy because Christians can do that too.
Oh yeah,
you see it. Like,
that's
studying.
we doing.
Yeah.
How many people I know the Bible more than you?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Preparing for the debate.
Yeah. Muslims do it.
Yeah. Hebrew Israelites do it a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to keep going on this?
Yeah.
All right.
The largest developed nations, with the emphasis on the word developed. In developed nations, survival is not as big an issue in the middle and upper middle class as it is in less developed nations. When survival is not as big an issue, the society starts giving more permission for there to be divorces if you want that, because you're moving from survival, what you need, to what you want. And if two people are unhappy, most societies that are developed allow some permission for divorce. The churches are usually not as significant a role. They play a role, but the pressure to not be to be disgraced at yourself if you get a divorce is not as great. So you have so in the end you have more freedom to raise children by yourself if you're a woman. So in the United States at the present moment, 53% of women who have children who are under 30, 53% have children without being married. And in general, without the under 30 part put in, 42% of women in the United States at the present moment who have children without being married. Most of the time, even among those who are not married, but they're living with a man at the time that they have children, those relationships last on average about 3 years. And then usually after that 3 years, the children have minimal or no contact with the dad when there's a split up. And so the boy crisis resides among those boys who have minimal or no contact with the dad, and they've had that contact for the first few years, but then they feel abandoned and lost by that dad. And boys, the girls at least have the role model of a mother as to what it is to be a female, but the boys don't have the role model of a father. Or if they have a role model of a father, that father, after the mother and father break up, or the father is often bad-mouthed by the mother. He's very narcissistic. That's why we broke up. He's very self-centered, and he's not reliable. He's not, he's a liar, things like that. And the boy begins to look in the mirror and worry that maybe he's looking in the mirror because he's a narcissist, or he remembers lying to a friend of his, or he remembers being unreliable in this way or that way. He begins to fear that the qualities that the father is being condemned for, that led to the breakup of the mother and father, are also qualities that he has, but he can't talk to the father about that, because that'll only destabilize the relationship when the father and mother have a fight. He can't talk to the mother about that for the same destabilization fear. And so he just shuts up about that, keeps that inside of himself, and it becomes a problem that leads to, depending on the personality of the boy, it either leads to minor problems or very major psychological problems that oftentimes boys don't go to the psychologist and they don't work those things out.
So to me, that's where I was saying, like, growing up in that type of household, I think that affected us
Mm-hmm.
because we like couldn't really tell mom, couldn't really tell dad.
Yeah. Because we've seen it blow up when we did say things.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is no slight to you, mom. No slight to. It's just how, because you weren't equipped to deal with that at the time.
Yeah.
Right. You grew up in chaos. Right.
Yeah. And you didn't choose to end the relationship. I mean, you did, but I'm saying like you didn't. It wasn't because of your doing.
Right. And dad, it's funny because dad came from, he was a PK, preacher's kid, but he chose to rebel against all of that, right?
In certain ways.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like, he would bring stuff up, but like it was kind of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
A lot of it, not all of it, because he held to some.
I mean, he didn't rebel against it in the normal sense of like he went atheist and just totally said that's nonsense, and you know what I mean. Like
but he picked and chose
right
what he wanted to believe.
Right.
That's where I'm.
But
saying.
he still had pride in the fact that his dad was a preacher. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that was a sense of pride for him.
Right.
Which is weird.
But yeah, so I know for me, like, I struggled with identity.
Yeah.
Growing up, it wasn't easy. You know, I struggled with understanding who I was and all these things.
Did you struggle with it? Did it make it more difficult being that you are biracial also? Did you guys ever
all of that stuff? Yeah.
That factored in for sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say add the culture on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like fitting in, you know, not knowing where you fit in. All those things when you're young and you don't have, like, our dad would tell us things, and he was there to a certain extent, but he wasn't there enough.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't there where I could really talk to him. I didn't feel like I had that type of relationship. I don't know about how you felt about it, but I at that time I didn't feel I had a relationship where I could really tell him how I felt about all these things.
Yeah.
It was more like a superficial, like I had to prove myself to my dad type thing.
When we were young, for sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was like in my 20s that I felt like I started to have that relationship with him where we would just sit and talk about stuff.
Right.
know?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Where I was real with him about how I felt. And
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up, I felt like I was trying to prove myself to my dad.
Definitely.
And put on an act or a show. Like,
Right. And he made you feel like you had to. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. And you came from that kinda too,
broke,
right?
but the difference was I really didn't have a relationship with my biological father like that. Like my stepfather filled in that role. He showed me, you know, what true love is. He took me and my brother and my little sister and their family, like, took us in like we were their own. So I experienced nothing but love from, you know, their family.
Did you ever have that dynamic where you kind of questioned, am I like my father?
I always had that feeling where it's like, you know, because you knew me when I was younger.
Mhm.
I dealt with like a lot of anger issues where, you know, I'd get into fights and I got out of a lot of fights because I played sports and you know, my coach helped me out with that. I probably would have been in more trouble than I was.
Yeah.
But I dealt with that. I knew how my father was because he actually you know, took cigarette and burned me, like that type of stuff.
He
you know,
was
I
just
always
abusive.
never wanted to be like that.
Right.
You know, but I never really had a relationship with him. You know.
Yeah. Right.
I was young when we left. I was 8.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But that's still 8 is still.
That's enough years to form
to see.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still pretty old development wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I saw a lot of it though. You know, I remember how he got, you know, my mom actually, like, they're friends now, and she tells me that he still deals with that with his, like, girlfriend, like, the anger stuff, throwing stuff. I'm like, you know, I pray for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's crazy how, like, if you think about it, none of that changes. Like, no matter how you say, I don't want to be like him, you'll be like him. Because you won't, and you'll do the opposite, but it'll just be a different version of him.
Right.
You're still a victim of it.
Right.
Like, you can't come outside of that cycle. But until you give it to God, right? That's the thing. Like, that's why I said earlier, you have to have someone who can take it for you. You have to have someone that you can put it on, who can take the responsibility. That's the power of a father, or a husband. Somebody who can take what you can't take. Somebody who can take on what you can't really take on. You know, somebody who knows how to do something you don't know how to do.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That's what real power comes from. Like, all this women empowerment for what? Like, I was talking to Jamie about
Tate
this.
over here.
What? That's
No.
Clip.
When I say that women empowerment for what, I'm saying
it would be funny if I just take that one little piece and just post that. Boom, woman empowerment for what? Boom, young lion.
Because you think about what people say, you're taking away women's empowerment to have sex with everybody.
Yeah.
You're taking away women's empowerment to now, because they had sex with everybody, they're pregnant, and the empowerment to have an abortion.
Right.
You're taking away their power to choose bad mistakes.
What to do with my body.
Themselves.
Yeah.
You're taking
Power to mess up if they want to.
Yeah.
Is that empowerment? That's bondage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, like, if you think you're free to choose, but if you're free to choose, are you going to take the wrong choice? And are you going to take the wrong path? Or are you going to listen to wisdom? The true power is in the wisdom. True empowerment is in wisdom.
Yeah.
But the moment you say these things, people get triggered. Women get triggered.
Yeah.
Where, are you trying to take away my empowerment? You have no real power.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be though, because that's true feminism. Because in the Bible, wisdom is compared to
a woman.
A woman.
Yeah.
I want to get Stan's perspective on what we were just talking about, though, because as Stan, as the only member of the den here that
grew up with a dad,
that grew up with both his parents the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, what was the difference that you saw in your household growing up with both parents in the home, like having your father there the whole time?
It was good, I guess. Work and church was the main focus, really.
Yeah.
And even, let's see, we go to church Sunday, Tuesday, sometimes Thursdays, and then back to Sunday. And then Saturday we had the Sunshine Band rehearsal.
Yeah.
So he's back there in the morning for that. And then...
So you were in church all the time.
Yeah.
So did you feel like did you feel like that was a burden? Or was it until
when you got older?
When you get older,
yeah,
it started getting in the way of your social life.
Yeah,
right?
the cool phase.
Yeah,
when you get into the teenage cool
right.
phase.
Right.
That goes back to the culture.
Right.
Trying to live up to that.
But do you feel like that foundation that was laid because of that kind of kept you
from doing a lot of stupid stuff?
Right.
I did stupid stuff,
right.
But it kept me from a lot, I would say.
A lot more, because we know a lot of the people that we were hanging around with in high school and the paths that they went down.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why we kind of all stuck together and avoided some of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I rebelled in my own way.
Yeah.
From that.
Oh, you definitely rebelled because I was right with you. I was there when his dad was like, "You're drinking the devil's juice," but he really did it though. That time he ate bad Chick-fil-A or something.
So
I'm like Mr. Golden. He's really sick.
So you brought Stan home with food poisoning, and your
my
dad thought you were
he was
drunk.
I
Yeah.
was drunk.
You're drinking the devil's juice.
Yeah, that was the day that we didn't drink.
Now, did your like if you think about your dad, did he have an issue with like really explaining things to you and having talks where he gave you the meaning behind things?
Not long drawn out.
No.
The whole sex thing talk came with, if you're not ready to walk down the aisle with her, then don't have sex with her.
Okay.
That was
the gist of it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely have to do better with our kids.
Yeah.
When it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like with Noah, like he's so reserved, and it takes a while for him to, y'all know, like, open up and stuff like that. I try to always sit down and, say he gets in trouble. I'll have a conversation about, like, explain to me why what you think you did that, and sometimes I'll get like short answers, but sometimes there's a breakthrough though. Like we'll have a good conversation, and that's what I want to do. I want to have that, open conversation. Like, yo, look, dude, you come to me, even if you messed up or whatever like that. Like, come to me, talk about it. We'll tackle it together, and then we'll see where to go next. Because I'm learning how to.
And I think that vulnerability is what is going to be key for you and your son, especially. Like, you got to be honest with him about a lot of the mistakes that you made.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be honest with him about, like, yo, I know what you're going through because I did the same dumb stuff.
Yep.
So, like, let's talk about it, because I can help you. I can help you avoid a lot of the mistakes that I made.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, we make a lot of mistakes, and then we try to, like, as parents, we have to be vulnerable. Like, in that vulnerability, they see, like, oh, okay. Like, there was this thing about this guy. He was talking to a pastor, and he said, is it all right? He said, do I have to stop smoking weed before I come to church? You heard this?
No, but it's
Okay.
just funny. It's just a funny question.
He's like, do I have to stop smoking weed before I come to church? And he said, no. Or before I get saved. I don't remember exactly. But then he said, I think he pulled out a blunt.
Yeah.
It was like, so you sure I don't have to stop? He was like, no. He's like, so then he's confused because he's thinking he's going to get like,
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean? He was like, do you clean up before you take a shower?
Yeah.
He's like, no, like, exactly. You go to take a shower because you know that's where you're going to get clean.
Right.
And I think, to what Moan was just talking about, if we are punishing people for what they did to the point where they can't come to us, then the whole point for them is to get clean, but they don't feel like they can come to us.
Yeah.
They're already beating themselves up about what they've done, and then they don't want to get beat up again.
Right.
And I think that's what happens with religion.
Yeah. So then you just end up hiding it and, doing things in secret. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens in marriages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Happened with mine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's definitely going to be something that you can teach your son.
Mm-hmm.
How to, not make those mistakes.
And here's why.
Yeah.
And it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, that's the point of knowing God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so funny. Like, you think you know God, and then you try to live out a life in the image of what you think God is, but that's not even the point. And then you try to prove yourself in that image that you don't even know him by.
Right.
Who he really is, right? But the point is that you're just a child that doesn't know anything. And if you come to the one who knows everything, you'll get to know him, and you'll get to really know who he is and how he loves you And that's that orphan mentality that we deal with. Like, we don't really know how to be loved because we live in a world that's unloving.
Yeah.
You know? And even the love that there is there, a lot of times it's perverted.
Yep.
Everything's twisted. It's backwards. So it's hard to understand that. And that's why people come up with questions like, how could a God do this? How could a God who is loving let these things happen?
Children to have cancer
in the world. And it's like, well, you'll never know that God if you stay with those questions that you really don't want answered. If you really want them answered, he'll answer them for you, but you got to really want to know the answer. You know what I mean? And then you just got to come to him.
And it's
with
funny
the answer.
because even
question.
just in that situation, you know, being raised in terrible situations and chaos, but that's why it shows you the fear of the Lord. Once you start seeking God, fearing him, he starts to change your whole life little by little.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then things start to change. So that's why this world right now is full of so much evil and everything. They don't fear the Lord. They don't know. They don't know how to fear.
Yeah. But then it's not up to them to know.
No, I know. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to make that point. They don't know.
Yeah, right. It's up to us.
Yes.
Jesus came so that we could know.
Mm-hmm.
How you going to know a father you never seen?
Right.
No one's seen God. But Jesus said, if you see me, you see the Father.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're learning. I actually saw a Muslim try to say the Bible contradicts itself because it says that no one sees God, but then Jesus said, I only do what I see the Father do.
Yeah.
And she was trying to say, it's contradicting.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. You already gave your answer. Conversations don't happen if we're not willing to hear somebody out. That's basics in respect. That's basics in relationship. So it goes back to, my point is that if I then go to that person and try to knock them because they don't get it, I'm just debating them and speaking past them, and then you get disrespectful. And you see it with the whole right and left thing. You see people just talking past each other, and nothing can penetrate their heart because you're not speaking to the heart. You're speaking to the mind. And the mind is just a guard, so everything you're speaking is getting blocked.
Yeah.
And that's our problem. So who's going to speak to the heart? But you can't speak to somebody's heart if you're not seeking God's heart. That's the fear of the Lord. And if you fear God, now you can be a representation of what fear looks like. That's what Jesus did for us. Now you see God. You know what I mean? But no one sees God. But through Christ, you can see God. You see me, you see the Father. So through him, we're able to see God. We're able to see the Father, and we're able to honor the Father. What's up?
Nothing.
We got any more? I don't know.
I mean, there is some more, but I don't know if was there anything particular that you wanted to get to besides what he was saying?
There were some good ones.
Yeah.
I don't know where we are.
Time-wise?
No, in the videos.
We're on the 4th clip right now.
Okay. Yeah. There's something good in this one.
Okay.
The second flip was the government became a substitute husband when it started to make laws saying that if a woman didn't have a man that she was living with or was not married to a man, that she could get money from the government. And so the government became a substitute husband. And this was institutionalized through many, many programs like Women, Infants, and Children, which makes it clear that it's not men, infants, and children. It's not couples, infants, and children. It's not infants whose parents don't make enough money. So particularly in inner city communities that were poor, oftentimes, and particularly in African-American Black communities, there was oftentimes the Black male was not making a lot of money. And in those cases, when he wasn't, the woman and the black male, both usually a black woman and a black man, calculated that there was an inadequate amount of money that was coming from the father to support the children effectively. So she made sure that the father did not live with her, and so then so she could get the money from the government, and that money came in multiple forms, but not just through the women, infants, and children forms. And so the woman felt that the best way to protect her children was to not have the father around. But it turned out, and that was the worst way to protect her children, because the children without a dad are most vulnerable. Now, we've known this since 1965, when the Moynihan report came out. And Daniel Patrick Moynihan was a sociologist, a U.S. senator, a Department of Labor, a cabinet executive under both Republicans and Democratic presidents. And he was asked, because he had such qualifications, to do a report of what was creating crime in the inner city. And everybody was going, oh my God, this is going to end up, blaming crime on blacks, because we know that in the inner city, very frequently blacks commit crimes. And what came out was a very different report than many people expected, and which was that crimes were not created by blacks per se, that crimes were created by those people in the inner city who were being raised without dads. And that at the time in 1965 was 25% of the males in the inner city, almost all blacks, that were among black males, among black families, 25% of the children were being raised without their dads in 1965. Today, the percentage is more than 70% among black males. Among Caucasian males at the 1965, it was only 3.2% of Caucasian males that were being raised without their dads. Today, it is 35% of Caucasian males being raised without their dads. So the Caucasian males being raised without their dads today is higher than it was for black males in 1965. And we're seeing a huge amount of dysfunction among both black males and Caucasian males today. And much more among Caucasian males than we were seeing among black males in the mid-60s. The second flip was the government became a...
Look at how interesting. I mean, we know this, a lot of this stuff, but
yeah, we talked about
the fact that they knew this back then, and they did nothing about it. They didn't say, okay, let's deal with this stuff. Because once government implements things, once government sets things in order, it's hard to take it away. Yeah. You know why?
Why? Because
jobs have been created.
So now you'll take away people's jobs.
Yeah. I was watching something about the homeless issue in L.A. and in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And how they're throwing money at this.
Yeah.
And what's happening is the people who are in charge of these things are just increasing their salaries, but nothing's changing.
Some of them are making $500,000 a year.
Right. Wow. Because why would they change? Why would they deal with the homeless issue when they're making money off of the homeless issue?
That's their job now. Right. If that issue goes away, I no longer have this cushy job.
They no longer have a job.
Yeah.
So when you have things in government, in whatever it is, at city level, state level, townships, federal level, when you put these governmental things into an act, right? And you start to create jobs, you're incentivizing people to keep these jobs any way possible. So if the government is trying to bring about solutions, the people who are put in those places to bring about solutions, that's acting against their best interest to bring about solutions. Right. So why would they bring about solutions?
They're not going to.
They're not going to.
I mean, it's the same thing with a lot of these nonprofits that we talk about. Like, a lot of them, they know that the causes that they're fighting for, if these causes end up getting fixed, they no longer get money.
Right.
So then when you look at like the ADL or even the NAACP, all of these nonprofits, even the Breast Cancer Association, all of these things, if they really wanted to, they have tons of employees, they have tons of things in place, infrastructure, all these things. They need the problem to continue because then they continue to get funding. They continue to increase their revenue stream.
And that's fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me, sorry to cut you off, but that reminds me of just people working. Like, they're getting money from the government. you work a certain amount of hours, you don't get that money.
Yeah.
So you're incentivizing these people to, all right, I'm just going to work the 15 hours that I need to work for me to get whatever, the $500, $600 a month.
You're talking about
getting.
people who are on
the assistant,
assisted
we're talking
living.
about government,
right?
And how, it incentivizes people to just to be where they're at. But you just said it, fear,
right?
So
fear, and it keeps you. You're literally giving people a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving people a way to look at life, and you're focused on that. The fear of the Lord causes you to look at life in a different way. And so we're looking at it through fear when we need to look at it through the fear of the Lord. And through the fear of the Lord, now we're not gonna. It says that the young lions suffer no lack. You'll suffer no lack when you learn the fear of the Lord. So, and even wisdom, wisdom is a woman, right? Our image is in wisdom as a woman, as the church, right? The bride. Our image is in wisdom. What is beautiful is wisdom. What is the most what's the most value a woman has?
Youth and beauty.
Youth and beauty. So the most youthful and beautiful thing is wisdom. Because wisdom is fresh. It's a new idea, it's a new solution, and it's beautiful when it's put into play.
Listen to this, feminists. True feminism.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it says that you become a crown on the head of you become a crown on the head of your husband. So think that's beauty, right? A crown is beauty. So it's a whole different way of looking at it. To where now you give up what you think you got to hold on to, and you take on this other thing, and you come up with actual value, actual solutions. What you're so focused on what you think is valuable that you'll never really have your true reflection, who you truly are. You'll never live up to it. You'll never meet that standard because you're so caught up with your own fear, and you don't get past that fear because you fear God more. So you'll never have those solutions.
Yeah.
Now, so what happens? You're dependent.
Right.
You become dependent on the government. Right? So then you become dependent on your employer. Not to say that you can't have a job, but you become dependent on an employer or the government. And then when the government comes in and tries to tell you that you got to take these shots,
you have to do it.
Just reminded me of the whole COVID thing. There's I hear people talking all the time about how people don't want to work now.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because they were just printing money.
Yeah.
Incentivizing people just to stay home.
Yeah.
Messing people up.
Why would you work when you got nothing to work for?
Yeah.
What socialism does is it takes away your purpose. Takes away purpose. It takes away your drive, your passion, creativity.
Jake always getting people mad.
Then it goes back to the culture thing too. Like, man, I got to get mine.
Yeah.
They gonna give me what to do what?
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna take that.
I'm gonna take that.
Yeah.
You'd be stupid not to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then you're giving up.
Right.
But the thing is, like,
you're feeding the beast.
Yeah.
That mentality, nothing's for free.
Yeah.
It's free money. It ain't for free.
Yeah.
Everything will cost you.
We're paying for it now.
Yeah.
And everyone's complaining about $11 lettuce. You know, and
$10 dozen eggs.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, did y'all see the
egg factory?
The egg factory burning? Yeah. What's up with that?
Dude, that
what's going on with that?
That is crazy, bro.
Burning.
Yeah.
A few months ago, it was
it's crazy.
Chicken for
something is in the works.
They want us to eat bugs.
They definitely want us to eat bugs. Bill Gates keeps talking about that. Meanwhile, they was at Davos eating Kobe beef,
Kobe beef,
crab imperial, and
I was seeing somebody talk talking about, because they're meeting for the environment over up in Davos. They were saying that they have to fly in there, and it's like a 2-hour ride.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up having to take helicopters to go there, and it's 30 minutes. It's still, the helicopter don't get them close by. They have to take these Suburbans.
Wow.
into where they actually
where they got to go. So it's
gas guzzler.
Gas guzzler.
First they flying.
It was funny.
On private jets.
All that fuel.
There's no airport. I didn't mention that. They have to fly private jets.
Yeah.
All
Then the
that
helicopter
jet
takes
fuel.
you.
Yep. And then the helicopter.
And then the Suburban.
And they got to fly in all that food too.
Yep. And they're eating Kobe beef.
Yeah.
But again, they're like, most people ain't paying attention to this stuff.
Yeah.
And the ones who are, they don't care, because eventually you're just the person that they're gonna put space between. That's the way they're thinking in a few years.
Right.
That's what they're setting it all up.
Mm-hmm.
They're running with it. They think they're gonna be winning. So they're looking at it like, okay, yeah, keep talking, because eventually it's not for us. We know it's not for us.
Yeah.
And it's not for us, but you're not going to matter. You're going to be too far behind to matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way they think.
That's why
I believe. I'm implying a little bit, but I believe that that's the way they think.
Listen, when we saw that reporter following the president of Pfizer, asking them questions.
Alex.
I saw that.
We played that last week, remember?
Yeah.
And he was just ignoring him. Got nothing to say.
Yeah.
That was the same one that James sent that clip of Greta.
Oh, yeah. Greta
did
that
same Rebel News
yep,
reporter.
Same reporter.
Like, why don't you speak out against Saudi Arabia and Russia
and
Vladimir? Why don't you say it?
And she's just giggling.
Yeah. Or China or India who's, pollution is crazy.
Yeah, and number one.
They only lecture the Western world.
Right.
But they're laughing at us, but you know what the word says? The Lord sits on his throne, he laughs at them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like eventually, yeah.
Did y'all ever see that speech from that Oxford professor, a parliament member or something, where he was talking about the flaw in the climate change argument? It's a really good speech. I gotta send that to y'all one day.
I don't think so.
His basic premise of it was that none of this makes sense to try to implement these rules, ESG and all this stuff. The poor countries they don't care about that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
To ask a poor country to cut back on their production is pointless.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because they're just trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And anybody who's trying to survive, you're hitting them with regulations. They're not going to follow that.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, China's not following it.
Exactly.
They'll say it.
They'll say they are.
Nah.
But their plan is to be the world power, so they're not gonna. They're just gonna say, yeah, we'll do it.
We'll
let
do
y'all
it
do it, and
2030.
then
yeah. But we're gonna keep building 50 factories.
Right.
Right. Every 6 months, a new coal-fired factory is being built.
But again, they're telling you this stuff, but these people that are telling you this stuff, it's not for them, it's for you. It's for it's for everybody else.
The useless eaters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Malthusian.
The plebs.
Yeah. They're not holding themselves to that standard.
No. That's obvious. You think they're gonna be eating bugs?
Right. No. And that's the mark of a true leader. Because a true leader is gonna be the first one.
Dude, I think about that all the time. Like back in the day, the kings, the freaking generals, they were out on the front lines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's only in like these modern societies where they sit up in their
high castles.
Right. It started with they would be up on their horses in the back and just let everyone else fight. The generals would be sitting in the back, way far away, like, well, we getting beat. But yeah, anything you want to play? Anything else from this?
No.
All right, cool. Let's wrap it up, man. Yeah, we that was a good one, man. I'm gonna send y'all that speech though, because I didn't really give it its due. You guys got to see it. He really goes in. So
okay,
I'm gonna send that to y'all. But yeah, we're about 2 hours and 40 minutes in. So thank you guys for watching, man. We appreciate y'all. Moan went to go to the bathroom. So
I almost lasted.
He almost lasted.
He never gets through the
That's why I gotta sit on the the aisle on the plane.
Well, we appreciate y'all for watching, man. Make sure you guys hit that like button. What is so funny?
Look, there's this thing, little.
Huh?
With the noise.
No. What people are saying now, I was going to say you got little bladder energy. Not the other thing.
Shout out to Courtney. She said this was a very good discussion tonight. Love y'all. Good night. God bless. Are you trying to say we don't always have good discussion? Only tonight was a good discussion. Nah, we love you, Courtney. Thank you for watching the whole time. You are the queen of the Young Lions. Make sure you guys share this video. And hey, patreon.com/youngliontv if you want to sign up and become a part of the community. We got some big things working.
The Young Lions are coming.
The Young Lions are coming. Man, we here. We here. We're putting in work, man. So we appreciate y'all. Don't forget Jatan.com if you want merch. And I forgot to mention the Cash App if you want to just throw a little meat to the Lions. It's $ Young Lion TV. And support what we're doing here. We appreciate that. Shout out to you guys for being here as always and stepping up and having a good conversation. Let's keep growing this thing. We appreciate y'all. And
shout out to the Eagles in the Super Bowl once again.
Eagles in the Super Bowl. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, and I heard Joseph Z say that the Young Lions are not only young people.
Okay. Well, that's because you're a young lion, Mom.
We never said that.
No, but you know how I say young lion, people think, I'm not saying just me, other people, I think they're young.
We've said it before. Young lions, you're a young lion until you die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you're always
learning.
You're always learning. You're always coming into truth.
You're always learning how to catch a new thing. How to catch the new prey. Yeah. There's always a new thing that's going to attack us. We just talked about that earlier with like people back in the day never knew what was coming.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah. They didn't know they were going to have to see a Sam Smith video.
He had stuff covering his nipples.
Yeah,
dude.
bro. He had pasties.
I didn't know that.
He had pasties and a corset.
I didn't know that was the Sam Smith that won the contest in, what was it, America?
No, that's not him.
That's not him?
He wasn't on American
But wasn't
Idol.
he a singer?
He's a singer, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's the only Sam Smith that I know that was gay.
No, he's not. I don't think he was ever on American Idol.
No.
But anyway,
He's English.
Let's wrap it up, guys.
I know he's English.
Let's wrap it up. He's saying he's English, so he wouldn't have been on American Idol.
No, it wasn't. No, I know. No, now I know what it was. It was one of those older shows that I watched.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Older shows?
Yes.
You used to be obsessed with all them competition shows.
Yeah.
Again, thank you guys. Trying to wrap it up here. Trying to get out of here.
Okay.
Usually mom's like, I gotta go, guys. Can we? I'm getting tired.
No, I never say that.
You've never said.
No.
You've never said that, Mom.
I went last week because I didn't feel good.
No.
You
Denial.
are watching Young Lion TV.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.